6:04, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. A little bit warmer to start off your morning this morning. 45 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. The trade-off, though, is while it is a little bit warmer, it's kind of nasty out there with the rain. It's lightened up a little bit from when I drove into work about an hour and a half ago. But nonetheless, it is definitely not freezing, to be sure. I'll take it. All right. Busy day today. We got a lot of ground to cover. Do I give the full rundown right now? You know what? We'll say this. Got a new segment to launch coming up later on this hour. Our friends over at Lake Urgent Care are going to be joining us every Friday. We'll give the rest of the rundown later. Right now, it's time for Top Stories and Trending.
Number 5.
Speaking of that cold weather, our news partners at WBRZ reporting with the weather on the rise in the capital region, local fire departments are trying to prevent heat-related home fires as much as possible. Earlier in the week, the state fire marshal released a statement urging home fire safety after 3 overnight home fires resulted in 6 fatalities. According to statistics obtained by our news partners at WBRZ from the fire department, there were 39 heat-related or equipment failure fires in the year 2024. The good news is that those fires are 100% preventable. Most of them involve space heater maintenance and space heater safety. As it stands right now, we have seen, like we said, a few fires so far this year that have caused fatalities.
Number 4.
A suspect was arrested after a triple homicide Thursday, according to St. Helena Parish Sheriff's Office. Deputies said they were dispatched to an apparent triple homicide around 4:39 p.m. No other information was given regarding identities or the incident.
Number 3.
Keep Tiger Town Beautiful is expanding into North Baton Rouge. The expansion of the program is going to be called Keep Jaguar Nation Beautiful. It's going to be headed up by community activist Pat LaDuff.
Number 2.
In an 8-1 vote last night, the East Baton Rouge School Board selected Shoshone Stewart as its new president. Mike Goday was elected as the new vice president. Goday previously served as president a few years ago. That 8-1 vote, the other vote was for Patrick Martin.
Number 1.
Baton Rouge police officers arrested a man accused of killing a 44-year-old along O'Neill Lane near I-12 back on New Year's Eve. BRPD said 32-year-old Glenn Walker is accused of killing William Bradford. He was booked for first-degree murder along with second-degree battery and armed robbery. What's trending, John?
Well, the Supreme Court on Thursday rejected President-elect Donald Trump's final bid to put his New York hush money case on hold, clearing the way for him to be sentenced for felony crime days before he returns to the presidency.
So that will mean that when he's sworn in, it will be the first time a president is sworn in as a convicted criminal. And that's all they ever wanted. I don't think there's not going to be like a real punishment attached to this. At least I can't imagine there would be. Provided a follow-up argument isn't heard before then, you know?
Right, no, absolutely. In other news, the Biden administration's Title IX rules expanding protections for LGBTQ plus students have been struck down nationwide after a federal judge in Kentucky found they overstepped the president's authority.
So, okay, the presidential authority part of this is an interesting part to me. But I do want to be clear. When it comes to LGBTQ plus, what's being challenged here is not the L, the B, the G, or the Q, for that matter, or the plus, as far as I know. It's specifically that T. It's specifically transgender athletes. It has nothing to do with sexuality and everything to do with quote-unquote gender identity. So, it's, yeah, I saw the same story, the same outlet of the story you did.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's being reported differently elsewhere, but this has nothing to do with being gay or straight and everything to do with what you're packing.
I know, right? Yeah, it's, touchy subject, but at the same time, you could see why there'd be some pushback.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, will TikTok be shut down in the U.S. on January 19th? Well, the Supreme Court will hear arguments today on whether or not they will overturn the law and keep them running.
I'm going to be very curious to see how this plays out because the arguments they're going to hear are going to be free speech arguments.
Yes.
And free speech is a First Amendment right afforded to us under the Constitution. But, and this is an area where specifically we could say this is an outlet to speak back against our government, which is what we're supposed to be protected in. But here's the thing. Are we ByteDance? Are we it's social media in general, and because this one's Chinese, it's different. But social media in general, I don't know. Is our free speech limited by somebody else's company? Is that weird? You see where I'm going with that?
But I don't know. Is free speech a privacy, I would think it would be more important than free speech, right? Like you have the ability to, of course, have free speech. But
privacy wise, that's 100% up to you.
Yeah.
If you don't want TikTok, don't get TikTok.
Right.
But
for those who do want, is what you're saying. Like,
yes, you're stifling speech, but it's
right. Okay, I see it now.
What I'm going to be curious to find out or curious to see is whatever they apply to TikTok, will there be precedent to apply it to other companies? If free speech is what's being argued, not the Chinese government being argued,
right.
The pushback isn't on the ownership.
That's what I would think.
The ruling, the law was based off the ownership. What Joe Biden signed into law was based off the ownership. The pushback is not. It's too early to get into this.
It is, isn't it?
It is. It's going to make a lot more sense at 7:05.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, speaking of making a lot more sense at 7:05, I told you we have a new segment with our friends over at Lake Urgent Care coming up at 6:50. We've also got, we're going to check in on the market report, the real estate market report in the 7 o'clock hour. Our good buddy Fabian Edwards from Elephant Real Estate going to be by at 7:15. Patty G makes his return at 7:35. Looking forward to this. I'm hoping beyond hope he has a proper sweater vest this morning. Patty G, Patty G's been gone since before you got here, huh?
Yeah, I haven't met him.
Oh man. All right.
I'm in for
We're gonna have some
treat,
fun.
Huh?
Yeah. So he's the host of the Patty G Show. He's also an accountant. When we talk business, we're gonna talk business from 7:35 till 8 o'clock. Nice. Everything from business culture to different rule changes and laws and whatnot. And fashion advice as well. In the 8 o'clock hour, we got Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute joining us. I lean on the R Street Institute whenever I can because they often come up with think pieces. The R Street Institute is a right-leaning think tank out of Washington, D.C. Jillian, her areas of expertise are criminal justice, civil liberties, security, policing, and the like. Her latest column, How Targeted Violence Shakes Cities. Basically, just because the terror attack was down in New Orleans doesn't mean New Orleans was the only place that's going to feel the after effects. We'll talk with her at 8:15. And then coming in from Gonzales, the folks over at Vicious Biscuit bringing us breakfast for Foodie Friday this morning. All that's still to come. Right now, it's 6:12 at Talk 107.3 FM. Sports is next. Coffee. All right, you got the sports cuts I sent you?
I do. Let's see. Is 4.5 the only...
The only highlight, yes.
Okay. That's the only cut from this segment, though, right?
No. I sent you two other cuts from last night's game.
Okay, I got it. I do have them. Okay, the CFB cuts?
Yes.
Yep, got them.
We're going to start with the final play of the game.
Okay. That's what I was about to ask. Which... So final play, and then okay, that'll work. So just to clarify, this ND, that first note, that's no cut, though, right? That's just
What?
that first.
Those
note?
two cuts, Notre Dame. Indy's Notre Dame. So, yeah, those two cuts are about the Notre Dame game.
Which one? The final play ones?
The final play,
And the
and then it's the coach of the other team. .616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. So we have one team slated or ready to roll for the national championship game. That one team thus far would be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They topped Penn State last night 27-24. It was slow moving first half on the offensive side, and then offense exploded in the second half. You know what? We almost saw, well, I shouldn't say almost saw because it wasn't. When something can come down to the last play and it's like a kickoff and you're seeing the laterals all over the place, there's always that little inkling of excitement that it's going to turn into something amazing like the Saints versus Jaguars a few years ago. Or, we've seen a handful of plays throughout football history where they have the million different laterals and eventually somebody breaks loose and scores. Here's how the time ticked off the clock at the end of the game last night.
Struggled, his confidence was gone. Three-man rush, Aller, here come the laterals. Warren lateraled it off. Harrison Wallace sends it back to Aller. And that's out of bounds and ends the game. Notre Dame has won the Orange Bowl, and Marcus Freeman is taking them to the championship game.
That's going to be the first time Notre Dame is in the national championship game since a few years ago when Brian Kelly took them there, and they just got waxed by Alabama. Riley Leonard was 15 of 23 on the night, Notre Dame's quarterback, for 223 yards. He threw for one touchdown and two interceptions. It's crazy, the one touchdown he threw for. Tim Brando, longtime sportscaster Tim Brando. I'm scrolling through Twitter, as I'm watching the game, just keeping up with everybody else's analysis of it and whatnot. And old Timmy B says, and this is just, it could not have been more serendipitous in the timing. Tim Brando tweets out, Riley Leonard's already thrown 2 interceptions tonight, but this is where he's dangerous. Just when you think he's likely to have lost his confidence and he's too inaccurate, he suddenly starts making plays. The guy is a gamer. The very next play was a pass for a touchdown. I mean, the very next play was the pass for the touchdown that tied the score up at 24 apiece. So Notre Dame goes on to the national championship game. Who will they be playing? Ohio State versus Texas is tonight. Winner of that game moves on as well. Okay, over to women's basketball. I'm sorry. I got one more. We'll do, you know what? We're going to push women's basketball to after the Fox Business Report. Penn State's head coach, James Franklin, first of all, who's got a reputation for losing games like this, had all the wrong answers in the postgame.
I think it should be consistent across college football. I think, again, this is no knock at Coach or Notre Dame, but I think everybody should be in a conference. I think everybody should play a conference championship game, or no one should play a conference championship game. I think everybody should play the same number of conference games, but just the numbers are going to make things more challenging if you're playing one more conference game. So I just think things need to be consistent across college football.
Your last game was over a month ago. Your Big Ten championship game where you lost to Oregon was a month ago. A month and 4 days, if I'm not mistaken. Here's the Fox Business Report. What kind of jackass answer is that? Well, it's not fair because Notre Dame didn't have to play a conference championship. They're 14-1. We're 13-3. We played one more than they did. You've also had a month off since then. You tell me if it was a month and a week, you'd have gone out there and wrecked shop? No. Asshole. Oh. Did I get a text from my wife? Hey, look at that. Good morning, boo. We had cuts from the other day about, I think it was Tim Temple, talking about understanding the governor's frustration that we haven't seen a dip in insurance rates, homeowners insurance rates yet.
Okay. I can, let's see. I'm going to go back and see. It must have been a WAV file. Of course, I delete all the WAV files.
Yeah, you don't want to save WAV files.
Yeah, I'm gonna check. I can check.
You know they have MP3 versions on the site.
Oh.
It's not. They're not going to be there anymore. The news call rolls over every day. If you delete them, they're gone.
Oh. Not even in the recycle bin. Like if I delete them from the.
Oh, it might be. It might be. It's a lot of shit to sift through, though. But yeah, they would be the same there. I'll tell you what. Worry about it after the show, and I'll schedule it to talk about it on Monday. I gotta be careful. I don't want to rip the governor a new one. I gotta figure out how to formulate my take because I already know what my basic take is. But I gotta figure out how to formulate it to where I'm not a complete asshole.
You said it was 3 cuts?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Oh wait, for what?
Tim?
Yeah, don't worry about it right now. Don't worry about it.
Oh no, but I just want to let you know I do see 3 in the recycle bin that were
Tim
from
Temple?
December.
No, they were from earlier this week. They were from LRN.
Oh, LRN cuts. Okay. I was thinking it was something else. That's okay. I'm fine. Oh, good. Yeah, the cuts here are just 13, 14, 15.
Yeah. Oh shit, this is me. I'm not ready. All right, looks like the rain has lightened up a good bit. It might still be drizzling where you are, but downtown Baton Rouge, we're all good right now, and hopefully that'll play out on the streets as well, and make your morning drive a little more pleasant. Here's what we got going on your interstates. Normal volume. That's the best way to report it. I-12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs, you got a little bit of yellow, not seeing any red. I-12 westbound as you get closer to the 10-12 merge. It's actually good right now. We're lighter than normal there. I-10 westbound coming in from Prairieville and points beyond. We're looking good. I-10 eastbound coming across from West Baton Rouge. We are golden there as well, and 110 is looking good. On your surface streets, there's only one accident to report right now, and it is Fuquot North 22nd. So, Fuquot North 22nd. So, let's see. Unless you're going to Memorial Stadium, you probably don't have to worry about that right now. Plus, it's been moved off the roadway. That's really good traffic from the Shaw Bills Tire Traffic Center. .625 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We ran long talking about James Franklin's jackass answer after the game last night. I'm sorry. It comes across wrong. If you want to make an argument that Notre Dame needs to be in a conference, fine. But don't do it after they beat you. especially when it's been a month since your last game, and try to make it sound like your workload is just too much because you've got a 1-game differential and that last game was over a month ago. Anyway, we ran long there, pushing us back here to where we got a little bit more to cover when it comes to sports. How good is this LSU Tigers women's basketball team? They're 18-0 right now, but there's still a lot of questions surrounding this team. A little bit of a weaker non-conference schedule this year, or so it would appear. They go on the road yesterday, take on number 16, Tennessee. Tennessee comes into that game averaging 97 points per game, the most in the conference by far. Well, by about 6 points, where you'll find LSU right after them at 93, and second most of the conference. But they roll into Tennessee, and they roll out with an 89-87 win. LSU got out early, up by 9 after the first period, and Tennessee just kept chipping away. Maybe 2, maybe 3 points each quarter, and then eventually took the lead midway through the fourth, and then it was back and forth between who had the lead until the final seconds of the game when Kaylin Gilbert, I tell you what, I'm not going to do this justice. Patrick Wright was awesome on the call yesterday on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Here's how the last 15 seconds sounded.
Gilbert with 15-14 in the half-court circle. 11-10, 9. Gilbert half-court circle, 8-7. She looks at the clock. 5, now 4. Gilbert's going to make a move. Gilbert down the lane to the hole. It's good! It's good! It's good with the left hand. What a shot by Gilbert.
What a shot.
0.7. And Tennessee will call timeout.
So they call timeout to get the inbound. The inbound is a big lob, and it's not really deflected, but thrown off just enough to where it can't be effective. LSU goes on to win 89-87. I'm going to skip right past the part where Shaida just shouted all over Patrick. I'm sorry. And I know I'm not the only one in the building that the color commentator needs to wait until the play-by-play person is done. That's just let the call be the call. Anyway, we're going to skip right past that part because it was emotional. It was great. It was everything basketball is supposed to be. It was fantastic. And by the way, Gilbert on the night had 22. She was ridiculous like that all night. The highlight sheet, John, you've got the highlight sheet. You see Gilbert's name, 6 times? I mean, in just as highlights, not just regular made baskets. I know because I produce a game, so I cut the highlight sheet. Anyway, but her 22 was awesome, but she didn't even lead the team in scoring. Anissa Morrow had 23. Anissa Morrow also had 21 rebounds. Among those 23 points for Morrow, by the way, was her 25th 100-point. She got 2,500 points overall in her career. Also, Flau'jae Johnson had 20 on the night. Michaela Williams had 16. Those were the 4 Tigers who were in double figures. Scoring dropped off significantly after that. Miracle Shepard had 4. Jersey Wolfenbarger had 2. I believe they were the first 2 points of the game. And Cheyenne Day Wilson had 2 much later on in the game as well. So, how good is this LSU team? I would argue really flipping good. They went into a hostile environment in Tennessee, and I know it's hard to say hostile environment with women's basketball. Well, if there's one place where women's basketball in Southeastern Conference is going to be hostile, it's going to be Tennessee. They went into Tennessee. They punched them in the mouth early, and then they were able to jab their way out of the fight until they had to throw another haymaker at the end. It was fantastic. So 18-0 on the season right now, still number 6 in the country, still seeded as a 2 seed when it comes to the tournament, but those seeds are still very, very early, and LSU has a lot of room that they can move up. Going to be home to take on Vanderbilt, not Sunday, but Monday. Normally they play like a Thursday, Sunday rotation when they're in conference. LSU Vandy will be Monday at 6 p.m. You will hear that game right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Pre-game will begin at 5:30, and once again, Patrick Wright and Shaida Williams will be on the call. After home against Vandy, they'll go to Florida, and then they're on the road back-to-back. It's that next back-to-back game that I'm looking at right now at South Carolina. Whew. That's going to be tough sledding. But your home for LSU women's basketball all season long is right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right. We got to talk wildfires when we come back. Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain joined me yesterday, and he had a lot of comps to what went down in Louisiana 2 years ago versus what's happening in California right now. That's next. Oh, Jared says, good morning, Brian. I'm curious as to your opinion on the upcoming steel mill for Ascension Parish, Donaldsonville. It seems a lot of locals are whining about how stressed infrastructure already is in the parish and hearing mostly negative comments about it. I personally think it's great. I personally agree, Jared. I think it's great as well. It's 1,300 permanent jobs. Infrastructure, you can build out around that. You never want to build out after the fact. Ideally, you'd like to have it built in rather than built out. But, hey, I will play makeup on the roads in order to have 1,300 new jobs and a few hundred construction jobs along the way. Now, on top of that, it's a big marker because this is going to be a steel mill that builds out the steel, builds out the parts to send to Kia and Hyundai's assembly plants around the U.S. We lose always when it comes to landing auto plants. Every time you see an auto plant want to move somewhere, we end up losing on it. It'll be like they're looking at a site in Louisiana, they're looking at a site in Mississippi, and Mississippi gets it. They're looking at a site in Louisiana, they're looking at a site in Tennessee, and Tennessee gets it. This is a step in the direction that says, hey, car makers, we're open for business. That son of a bitch went and played it right.
Oh, man.
So I sent you 3 Mike Strain cuts and 3 California Wildfire cuts, right?
Yep.
Okay. And we're going to be tight on time because the Lake Urgent Care segment will take up the whole segment.
Okay.
So it's Dr. De Benedetto. I'll give you all that later.
Okay. Is that going to be phone or are they coming in?
Phone.
Okay.
They offered to come in. I'm like, it's an 8-minute segment at 6:50 in the morning.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate it, but and I'm not going to tell you no. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the phone is available if you want it.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So 6:30. Christy might still be listening. Trying to tackle a dry January, although she's working a lot harder at it than I am. Wondering if that carries over to Friday night, even though we don't have Blue Bloods. Although I saw there's a new Kunk special. Do you know who Philomena Kunk is?
Hold on. What?
Do you know who Philomena Kunk is?
Okay, Kunk. Okay.
Yes. C-U-N-K.
I got one ear in.
I understand.
Like,
I understand.
Wait a minute. What?
No. Very careful about pronunciation.
Yeah.
British woman, comedian. I think her real name's Diane Morgan. She plays this character, Philomena Kunk. Okay, do you remember the Ollie G show?
Yeah.
Remember how stupid Ollie G was with his interviews? It's that.
Oh, so she's like that.
But funnier.
Yeah.
She's way funnier than he ever was.
Diane Morgan.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah. Sorry, I got one ear in.
It's okay.
Yeah, I've seen her before.
So she's got a new 1 hour long Kunk on Life special.
Yeah, we gotta find another show. We gotta find another show as well, my wife and I.
We're blasting through Modern Family, which is awesome. I love that show.
Yeah.
I'm showing we might not be done with the rain just yet. Let's get a more professional take on that. Here's Emma Kate Cowan. Goodness gracious. .638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got to pivot over to what's happening in California with the wildfires and take a look at it from a couple of different angles here. One of them is it wasn't that long ago we were battling wildfires right here in Louisiana. Ag Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain joins me every month. And by the way, if you're listening at 6:38 in the morning, you might not be listening at 8:15. You're probably already at work by then. But do yourself a favor when you see Mike Strain on the rundown, that make it a point to dial back in. It is informative. It is entertaining. None of it's me, by the way. He's awesome. And we have a good time every single time. Got gut cramp laughing yesterday. About other topics, about the wildfire topic. He's very, very serious. We're going to get to his cuts in a little bit. I want to start off, though, out in California, though, as thousands of firefighters are battling at least 5 sprawling wildfires spreading across the Los Angeles area. We're going to go cut 2 first, right? Okay. Officials are pledging to rebuild quickly as the area struggles to contain the devastating wildfires. I said 5. They're up to 9 now. Yesterday, the 9th blaze, the Kenneth Fire, sparked in the West Hills. President Biden said that CAL FIRE is bringing in pumps to get fire hydrants working again. Their fire hydrants don't work. Like they go to pump some water out of the fire hydrant, and nothing comes out. California Governor Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Kevin Bass have been criticized for the fire response, including by President-elect Donald Trump.
I think that Gavin is largely incompetent, and I think the mayor is largely incompetent, and probably both of them are just stone cold incompetent. What they've done is terrible.
We'll get to the blame later on for sure. As they're in the thick of it, though, I mean, they're still the ones in charge of getting them out of it. So let the negativity hold off until they're done, until they're clear. But, boy, there's going to be plenty to go around once it's time, right? Plenty to go around once it's time. As far as what they're dealing with right now, the estimates are already up to $57 billion in losses, economic losses, $20 billion in insured losses. Carl Sussman is an insurance broker. He covers the affected Pacific Palisades and Hollywood Hills neighborhoods in Los Angeles. He told our news partners over at ABC yesterday the damage from the fires, the worst he has ever seen.
A number of large insurance companies have been pulling out of the state of California because they're saying that it's just too costly for them.
It goes 213. No, sorry about that. Hit 1, please.
We have had over 60 total losses to date for our clients, and that is definitely a record, and they're still coming in. We have a lot of people that are in Palisades that don't know the status of their homes, and unfortunately, from everything that I'm seeing and everything that I'm reading, it does not look promising at all.
And it's going to get worse because the fires aren't out yet. And my apologies to John, because I did have 231 written down, not 213. Totally my fault. So 60 losses for this one insurer right there, or one insurance broker right there. $57 billion, the projections right now. And like I said, it's going to get worse. So that means for insurance companies, what are they looking at? Here's ABC's Alexis Christoforous.
A number of large insurance companies have been pulling out of the state of California because they're saying that it's just too costly for them to do business there. The wildfires and other natural disasters have become so frequent that there are so many claims, they're afraid they will not be able to keep up with those claims. And sometimes they're not renewing those policies with little to no notice for the homeowner.
Sound familiar? Replace fire with hurricane, and it sounds very familiar. I mean, having your house damaged, I mean, the fires, they're engulfing them and incinerating them for sure. Probably easier to rebuild after a hurricane than it is a fire. But doesn't it sound very familiar? I can't wait to have Tim Temple back on, our insurance commissioner. By the way, he's going to be on when we're up in Washington, D.C. He comes on every month, and it just so happens that this month it coincides with when we're up there. So I'm looking forward to talk with him. I might reserve more than one segment for him because there's going to be so much to talk about this with the side-by-side comparison. Insurers are looking to pull out of California when it comes to homeowners insurance because the fires are so bad. That sounds like a very similar battle for their insurance commissioner to have to go around saying, no, please don't go. There's still a lot of value here. Now, that's one conversation to be had on the topic. Another one, and this is going to take us over to Commissioner Mike Strain. We had Dr. Strain on yesterday. We have him on once a month. And but we obviously had to talk about it because he's seen this up close and personal. He's seen what it looks like when these wildfires happen. And there are some differences between California and Louisiana, to be sure, but there's a ton of similarities. For example, summer before last, we were going through a drought, so it was very dry out there. One of the things Dr. Strain talked about was how these fires spread so fast.
Fire creates its own weather. It creates its own atmosphere. And it gets so hot, so intense, things, you think, well, an ember had to get in those houses. Not when they all burning. It gets so hot, they just spontaneously start burning.
Okay, well, let's walk down that.
Then you got the embers. That's another.
So the embers flying creates. But
yes.
If it incinerates that quickly, isn't it burning through its own fuel that quickly?
Oh, it's so hot. It's just, if you ever see a firestorm, it's just so hot, so intense, and there's all that wind, and it will burn through that fuel. So these houses, it's not like a typical house fire could last for quite a while, but there's so much heat that they burn extraordinarily fast, and just putting water on the house before it gets there is not going to stop it. Now, there are things that we tell people to do to protect your home from wildfire. For instance, you live in a rural countryside, right? If you have an elevated house, you need to have some type of screen or something there and under the eaves, or where an ember can't get under the house, or the ember can't get into the attic, or can't go underneath. An open garage with all this stuff and fuel tanks in there and that sort of thing. No, you need a garage door, because these embers, we had embers from the fires that we had from the Tiger Island fire that started fires in Texas 20 miles away. Now you think about this. Those embers go up from the intense heat. They go and they settle. And what happened in Los Angeles and Palisades and through there, these embers, they leapfrog. They'll leapfrog with the wind ahead of you. And so as you're fighting here, now you're fighting behind you and in front of you at the same time. Oftentimes 1 mile, 5 miles, 8 miles, just depending on how it's going. And then you can get the firenadoes, tornadoes of fire, right? And we had some of those in Sabine Parish. And when you see a firenado, once you see it, you'll never forget it. And it's rolling and it's lighting everything.
I asked the commissioner about prescribed burning. We do prescribe burning in Louisiana to the extent where we want to see up to 10% of our area covered, and he's working on growing that out beyond there. But I also asked him about what about prescribed burning when it comes to California?
We're trying to get them in California, U.S. Forest Service, to manage their forest. And that is something that's got to be done. It's got to be done. But people think that, managed prescribed burning gets rid of the underbrush, gets rid of the unnecessary fuel, and it's healthy for the environment, because you get very good regrowth. And so they're they really aren't doing what they need to do. Now, where these fires started was in a narrow strip between the ocean, right, and the ridge in Malibu where all these homes are.
Right.
So they would not have done prescribed burning there. But you need to be able. You've got to get rid of the deadwood. You've got to, and you really need to go ahead and trim up the grass and do all the things you can do proactively versus reactively.
Quick break, Your Money Now, and then the folks from Lake Urgent Care will join us. See, and Galen, Galen and Byron are making good points over on Facebook Live. Byron says, the more I learn about the mismanagement of the forest and the water there, the more it smells like criminal negligence. I'm guessing their government positions shield them from most liability. But wow, well, malfeasance in office is a thing. So maybe there might be recourse there. But Galen comes back and says that same lack of proper management of forest conversation happens every year or so. Insanity, right? Not just insanity, but every year that we go through a hurricane season, we fix shit. We get something better. We get something done better and right. We're building out barrier islands. We've got the Mid-Barataria sediment diversion, and whether you like that $1 billion project or not, it's going to net results. The scientists tell us, the eco-scientists tell us, it's going to net results. We're stronger against hurricanes every time we learn something new and we do something better. Whether it be New Orleans having to replace pumping stations, which is still a nightmare, but New Orleans replacing pumping stations, or us putting fortified roofs on top of our houses, which I just got one. Like, everything we're doing every day, we get better. California, it's like, oh, look, this happened again. And we're supposed to be the dumb ones, right? Well, we got that Bobby Boucher down here. Like, I gotta go upstairs and grab a promo. I gotta reprint the promos and then grab them off the printer at the news at the top of the hour. I'm also in desperate need of chapstick. Right into Your Money Now. Make sure they're not in person. We're going to need a graphic to go along with this at some point. I'll run that down later. But just see if you can find Lake Urgent Care's logo somewhere online. DeBenedetto. Dr. Kevin DeBenedetto, capital D, lowercase I. Capital D, lowercase I, capital B, and then everything else lowercase. E-N-E, DETTO. I mentioned the fortified roofs. Now, Galen talking about when I was talking about the things we've improved. He said fortified roofs too. I'm like, yeah, I know. I said that. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Let's move over from the wildfires into the medical world. One of the things that a lot of folks do at the beginning of the new year is make that New Year's resolution to lose some weight, and there's plenty of opportunity to do that out there now medically. Joining us from Lake Urgent Care is Dr. Kevin DiBenedetto. Doctor, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Glad to have you on this morning. Glad to be talking about this. A lot of questions surrounding it. We see the commercials all over the place, and a lot of friends and neighbors already taking part. So let's talk a little bit about the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. Can we start with this one? What's the difference between the two medications?
Well, the difference mainly is they're both what they call GLP-1 medications, which is a glucagon-like peptide. So they both decrease gastric emptying, therefore it makes you feel full longer. Tirzepatide has an additional hormone that inhibits the glucose release and from the liver. So it works by two different hormone mechanisms as opposed to one by the semaglutide.
So if the tirzepatide does both, why wouldn't everybody opt for just that? What would be the holdback on that one?
Well, currently tirzepatide is a little bit more expensive, and some people tolerate one better than the other as far as side effects, whether it's GI side effects or something like that. So the cost is a difference. Sometimes side effects can be a difference between them. And honestly, I think they're going to come out with more and more of these. I mean, Eli Lilly's working on one now that works by three different mechanisms. That's in third phase of trials.
Then that brings us around to y'all's program, because if there are decisions to be made, there's the the proper prescription, if you will. So how does y'all's program work?
Well, our program, we try to do more of a medical weight loss where we assess the patient. We bring them in, talk to them, get a good background history, of course, get their weight. We do initial labs on everybody, which includes what we call a hemoglobin A1C that kind of detects if you run high blood sugars. We check liver functions, kidney functions, a urine. We check a thyroid study, pancreatic enzymes. Then we discuss the patient the best options of the two. We're very flexible in that the way our program works is you can either come in once a week and get your injections at the clinic, which would be the semaglutide injection, or you can actually have the medicine. You can either pick it up at a local compound pharmacist that we're partnered with, or you can actually even have it mailed to your house in month supply, and you can get the medicine sent to your house. So there's a lot of flexibility there in the types of medicine and how it can be delivered.
We're talking with Dr. Kevin DiBenedetto from Lake Urgent Care about their medical weight loss program. Well, if you could handle things on your own with the self injections, why would they need to come in for the consultation? Can that be handled virtually as well?
Yeah, we especially the follow up.
We
can do virtual follow ups once a month, as long as we get the weight from you. We do repeat the labs at after 3 months just to see how it's affecting, like your hemoglobin A1C, to make sure it's not having any effect on your kidney function. And then we will not repeat the lab till 6 months after that. So the lab's not like a once a month thing. It's the initial visit, then three months after you're taking the medicine, then 6 months after that 3 month period. So actually 9 months later. So So a lot of it, some of it can be done virtually, and then some of it where you need to have your repeat labs. But we just want to be able to counsel the patient, because we feel like you have to stress that diet's still important.
Yes.
Everybody likes a magic medicine where they don't have to do anything. You still need to diet. You still need to exercise. And matter of fact, you can get something called sarcopenia, which means muscle waste. So a lot of people will lose a lot of muscle when you lose weight and quickly. And so there are ways you can prevent that with increased protein and some resistance training with exercise.
Who's this for? How serious, like what level of weight loss is necessary, or I shouldn't say necessary, but recommended that you would want to seek this out and come see y'all?
Well, if you have a BMI of 25, that's considered overweight. A BMI above 25 and a BMI of 30 or above is considered obese. Mm-hmm. So the benefits of these are tremendous in lowering your weight, and thus combating diabetes. I mean, Louisiana is extremely high in the nation with diabetes and new onset diabetes. Also high blood pressure. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there about these medicines and the newer things that they now do. And, I mean, there's even stuff out there saying that it has cardiovascular health. It even without the weight loss, it helps with heart attacks and strokes, especially in diabetics. They're thinking now that it may possibly help with Alzheimer's, sleep apnea, lowers blood pressure. So there's a lot of good medical things that go along with these medicines besides just pure weight loss. And that's probably a lot of the reason we got into it, because we see so much chronic medical problems in our urgent care centers.
Where can we find you? Where are y'all open?
So we have 5 locations in the Baton Rouge area. Highland and Lee Drive, Denman Springs near Watson, Highland Road and Airline, Drusilla, and we have one in our Hammond location. You can just call any of those places and schedule the appointment.
Got about a minute left with Dr. Kevin DiBenedetto with Lake Urgent Care, talking about medical weight loss programs. Doc, I would imagine that one-on-one, that personal relationship that y'all develop with your patients, and the level of importance there, not just on the diagnosis side, not just on pairing with the right, whether it be semaglutide or tirzepatide, but that long-term to make sure that lifestyle changes are incorporated as well. How important is that back and forth between doctor and patient to make sure it's not just looking for that magic injection?
Well, I think it's very important when you talk to somebody that knows what they are talking about, that doesn't just give you the usual, here, do this and do that. They kind of want to explain why, like what I was mentioned about the muscle loss, and how important it is to diet, so that one day you can just maybe go ahead and get off of the medication, but now you've established a healthier lifestyle, and it's better for future use, as opposed to just calling up and getting on a shot and not making any lifestyle changes. I think when you have somebody, a provider, or like a coach that can help you with that, make those changes, and it'll make you realize you just don't need to eat as much as you thought you needed to eat, and that physical activity is not a bad thing. You actually start enjoying it. It gives you a better feeling overall, health-wise.
Visit lakeurgentcare.com, lakeurgentcare.com for more. He's Dr. Kevin DiBenedetto. Appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Here's ABC News at 7 o'clock. Ray says, asking what the downsides are. I'll tell you right now what the downsides are. Number one, it only affects you while you're on it. It only affects you while you're on it. Once you're off it, if you go back to your old habits and your old ways, your mind isn't telling you that you're full anymore, or your body isn't telling you you're full anymore, you're going to put the weight right back on. And that's why I asked him about the relationship with the doctor and patient there. And he mentioned the word coach, which I think is awesome. That's the one part. One downside is it's only while you're on it. Once you're off it, you're off it. The other downside, he mentioned before, they solve on the diagnosis part, where you're talking about whether you're going semaglutide or tirzepatide. People react differently to the two different drugs. So they're going to pair you with the one so you don't have GI problems, so you don't have blood sugar problems. That's why they do all the lab work on the front end, is to avoid those front end downsides. I hope that explains it. I had a lot more notes than we had time to get to. The tomb? Yeah. Oh, .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Looking forward to this hour. We're going to cover a lot of ground here, specifically when it comes to the real estate market in Baton Rouge. What's trending? What's hot? What's not? Fabian Edwards with Elephant Realty is going to join us at 7:15. Also this hour, Patty G is back. Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show, going to join us at 7:35. We're talking business across the board, whether you're talking about trends in the business world or what's happening in the front office, what's happening in the back office. We've got that covered coming up at 7:35. Right now, though, top stories and trending. Did I throw
Number
away my
5?
Oh, here we go. The stack of papers is ridiculous today. All right. In 1 second, y'all. My apologies. Here we go. A suspect was arrested after a triple homicide Thursday, according to St. Helena Parish Sheriff's Office. A deputy said they were dispatched to an apparent triple homicide around 4:39 p.m. Now, no further information was given regarding identities or any other information about the incident overall.
Number 4.
The year 2024 saw more than 30 heat-related home fires in Baton Rouge. In fact, when I say more than 30, that number was actually 39. According to statistics obtained by our news partners at WBRZ from the Baton Rouge Fire Department, there were 39 heat-related or equipment failure fires in 2024. Now, a lot of that is due to the cold weather. You have the cold weather, you have space heaters. You have space heaters. If you're not following the proper safety guidelines, that's where things tend to go wrong. The state fire marshal put out a statement urging home fire safety after 3 overnight home fires resulted in 6 fatalities around the state earlier this week.
Number 3.
Keep Tiger Town Beautiful is expanding into North Baton Rouge. The expansion of the program is going to be called Keep Jaguar Nation Beautiful. It's going to be headed up by community activist Pat LaDuff. Jennifer Richardson with Keep Tiger Town Beautiful made ridiculous strides, but up until now they've kind of stayed in their own neighborhoods, stayed in where they live, work, and play, just due to limited resources. You can't get everywhere all the time, so this is going to be fantastic to see it move and become more citywide.
Number 2.
In an 8-1 vote last night, the East Baton Rouge School Board elected Shoshone Stewart as its new president. Mike Goday was elected as the new vice president. Goday has previously served as president of the school board, and Shoshone Stewart's opponent was Patrick Martin. He was the one other vote. Shoshone got 8, Patrick got 1. So we have a new school board president. Congratulations, Shoshone.
Number 1.
I sat with her on Wednesday at the Rotary Club meeting when Mayor President Edwards was up there. Baton Rouge police officers arrested a man accused of killing a 44-year-old along O'Neill Lane near I-12 on New Year's Eve. BRPD said 32-year-old Glenn Walker is accused of killing William Bradford, was booked for first-degree murder along with second-degree battery and armed robbery as well. What's trending, John?
Well, the Supreme Court on Thursday rejected President-elect Donald Trump's final bid to put his New York hush money case on hold, clearing the way for him to be sentenced for felony crimes days before he returns to the presidency.
Yep, and that's what they want. I mean, just to have that tag on him.
Oh, of course.
Here, if the sentencing isn't going to be anything, then I don't understand what the point is here. Well, I do, but I don't.
Right. Kind of the same thing, yeah. I mean, just to say that he's a convicted criminal.
Yeah.
Have that title.
At some point, I expect the judge, I half expect the judge to say, you knew what this was?
Yeah.
You knew what this was from the start?
Yeah. Just to have that tag attached, man. In other news, the Biden administration's Title IX rules expanding protections for LGBTQ plus students have been struck down nationwide after a federal judge in Kentucky found they overstepped the president's authority. So there's that. Huh? But like you said, I believe you mentioned it the last hour, right? This is more so focused on transgenderism, right?
Right.
This is more so.
Right. This is nothing to do. When you say LGBTQ plus, and you and I saw the same report.
Yeah.
You and I saw the same verbiage, and I'm pretty sure that LGBTQ plus is everywhere in the verbiage, but it's not about the L, the B, or the G. It's not even about the Q, and maybe the plus, but it's definitely the T. It's not it's nothing to do with sexuality, and everything to do with the most recent questions of who is what and how you identify, and just the way it's phrased makes it sound like it's so much bigger and
yeah, just maybe a miswording or a misunderstanding.
You're not miswording it because you're wording it the exact same way it's printed on my screen too.
I know. I just
yeah,
it's dicey. It's dicey. A little dicey.
It is.
In other news, will TikTok be shut down in the U.S. on January 19th? Well, that's the question that's being raised as the Supreme Court will hear arguments today on whether or not they will overturn the law and keep them running. So.
Yep. TikTok has filed an emergency motion for that injunction. That's what's going to be heard today. It's going to be oral arguments over whether or not the law should be upheld, I should say. President Joe Biden signed it into law that would prohibit internet providers across the nation from allowing access to the platform if ByteDance couldn't sell to an American company. We're 9 days away. A sale is not going to happen at this point. No. Now, what I would be curious to see is if they can get the inklings of a sale, like the negotiations of a sale underway, if they peel back then saying in good faith, hey, you're moving in the right direction here. I don't like anything about this.
No.
And look, I am an unabashed fan of TikTok. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoy it. It is my guilty pleasure. It is fun, but it's also a direct flow of information. And I know, China bad. I get all that. But I get more unfiltered information, unfiltered opinion on TikTok than I do anywhere else.
And you get it quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get it quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you want to see what's going to be on your Instagram Reels, go back in time by 2 weeks. It was already on TikTok. 712 Talk 107.3 FM. I got to head downstairs and let my next guest in the building. We're talking with Fabian Edwards next. No, come on in. You're up.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Good.
So I saw the November. Is the December not out yet?
I think Chase was working on it. He may be about to circulate it within a day or two. Okay. So I can give you a.
Does a whole lot change from November? Well, it's the last month of the year. I would imagine things pick up.
Yeah, things do pick up a whole lot in December.
Yeah. I speak from experience on that. We bought our house in Sherwood. Like so many houses in Sherwood, the old folks died. And the estate wanted to get it off the books. The family wanted to get it off the books. So they were a lot more amenable to sell.
Absolutely. The end of the year, that lights fires for a lot of folks.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't want it to roll over. You don't.
Everybody just wants some finality and fresh start in January.
Hey, if Patty G texts me during this segment, I'll wave to you. Go let him in. Okay. Hopefully he'll wait till news before he gets here. Talk 107.3 is heading back to our nation's capital to celebrate Washington Mardi Gras. Join me and Gordy Rush Thursday, January 23rd and Friday the 24th as we broadcast live from the Washington Hilton for Mornings with Brian Haldane, as well as a special afternoon drive show from 4 to 6 p.m. Our coverage is presented by Presley Wealth Management, Rev, the Baton Rouge Metro Airport, and Restore the Mississippi River Delta. It is 7:15 to Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Every so often, we like to check in the real estate world in Baton Rouge, and since we're a good 10 days into the new year, I figured why not set the table and see how 2025 is looking. We welcome back Fabian Edwards from Elephant Realty. Welcome back. How are you, man?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, doing great. Glad to be here as always.
Glad to have you on here. The most recent report that I saw was November of last year. And, man, things were looking on the uptick here.
Absolutely.
Did we finish 2024 strong?
We did. We had a big push at the end of the year. The final 2024 numbers should be circulated likely within a day or so. So I think our team is putting that together, and that should be circulated maybe even today. But all in all, the end of the year, the fourth quarter is always the busiest season for commercial real estate.
Yes.
2024 was no exception. We had a big push. There was a lot of exciting sales, and we can kind of get into some of the differences between the property types, but I'd really like to touch on the office market. I'm the office guy. You know that, Brian. That's what I do at Elephant.
Yes, and you have had a tough battle since COVID.
Since COVID.
You've had a tough battle, but the numbers look like that which is in the red is a smaller number in the red than it was, and we're actually seeing numbers in the green now.
Absolutely. We're moving in the right direction. So the fourth quarter of 2024 in the office world was exceptionally exciting because we had a handful of very large properties trade. 30,000 square foot building on corporate, 18,000 square foot building on Bluebonnet. The old Pelican Financial building, 5S Group bought that. So we saw not only just an uptick in overall activity, but the size of office properties that were trading. I mean, we saw some big deals get done at the end of the year, which I think is a really good indicator that the office market is trending in a really positive direction.
Can you talk about these individually? The 30,000 square foot
Absolutely.
on corporate. What building is that? Where at on corporate?
That is 5420. I actually represented both parties in that sale. It was purchased by Southern Regional Medical Center.
Okay.
So it's a multi-tenant building, 3 floors. Southern Regional will be moving in, renovating the ground floor. They're actually in the move-in process right now. Renovations have been done. So they're moving in. They're going to occupy about 10,000 feet on the ground floor of that building. And then the second...
So if you're at the Marriott, that's right there. It's right by the Marriott, but closer to Corporate Boulevard, like
that's right.
Front-facing corporate
Absolutely.
by the Marriott. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. All right.
So that sold in the third quarter. That was a great transaction to get done. A large building on Bluebonnet Center, which was an office building, 17,400 square feet and change. Also, I represented the seller. The purchaser was actually Dr. Jonathan Weiler. So, bought a big building over there of Weiler Plastic Surgery and a couple other businesses. The plan for that is actually to consolidate some of his back-end support staff in a single building.
Interesting.
Of 17,000 feet.
Yeah.
So give you a little insight to kind of the magnitude of the operations over there, but also just the fact that demand for these office buildings is picking up.
Yes, very, very much so. What was the third one you said?
The Pelican Financial building. So that was purchased by 5S. They're an engineering group.
Okay.
I don't have as much insight in that deal because that's one of the 3 that I was not involved in. But they purchased that, again, for expansion. Just another growing company that needed more office.
So break down the numbers for me if you could. Those are the 3 fantastic examples, but break down the numbers for me if you could, because y'all look at volume, velocity, and what's the other one?
Volume, velocity, and total. Yeah.
Value.
Value. Yes, absolutely. Price per square foot. So the, I think in the office world, speaking about the December report, which I know it isn't quite out yet, I think values will be up. I think partly because of some of those large transactions. Mm-hmm. Those buildings traded at all of those at a pretty good price per square foot. So all in all, that will help push things up. Now, 2024 compared to years prior, especially with if you look as far back as 2022, when interest rates were really low, volume and velocity may be down overall, but comparatively to immediately after COVID, we're still trending positively. And I think that's the big takeaway, is the movement in the right direction in the office world.
Just to make sure I have all 3 of these right. Value, like you said, is price per square foot.
Mm-hmm.
Volume is the number of sales.
Volume is the total dollar, the overall dollar volume for the year.
And then velocity is time on the market?
Velocity is the number of transactions in a trailing 12-month period.
Oh.
So it's the number of how quickly are these deals happening? How many deals do we get through in a year?
So in November, velocity was breaking even, like just 100% even, and volume was up by about 4.5%.
Yep, 4.5%.
And like you said, the December's numbers will be out soon, and we'll be able to see how volatile is the volume. Because I would imagine deals like this are pretty big deals.
Sure.
Which means they don't happen every day.
That's right.
So you can go from November to December. If you drop off by one property, your numbers are going to appear down, but that's why you probably want to look at it by the half year or the quarter.
Absolutely. Yeah. Zooming out a little bit gives you a much better picture because you can have some pretty wide variances month to month. I mean, you have 2 sales, each $3 million. Well, that's, $6 million in the Baton Rouge market. That's pretty huge. That can sway the numbers a lot. So you do have to zoom out and look at quarter or even better on say rolling 6-month basis.
Now, while these don't happen every single day, how many people are shopping?
More, which is great. More people are coming to the market. I think there's still some trepidation, I'll say, about interest rates. Yeah. What's going to happen in 2025. But I think as we get more and more resigned to the just kind of a comfort level with 6 to 7% rates, more folks are coming back to the market. They may have sat out early on when we first had that big rate explosion in, say, late 22 to early mid 23. But at this point, the folks that need to transact, they're coming back to the market. And, in particular in the office world, a lot of times the real estate is a vehicle for a business decision for these folks. And, you can only sit on the sidelines so long. So we're seeing more people come back to the market. And I think that's going to continue to drive things in 25.
This is exactly why I like talking about real estate, because it's the precursor before the jobs.
It's everything. It really is the pulse of the economy in Baton Rouge, commercial real estate. Yeah. That's where it all begins.
That's this is neither here. By the way, Fabian Edwards from Elephant Realty is our guest. This is neither here nor there, but you mentioned Dr. Weiler.
Yes,
is expanding, right? Uh-huh. I saw the crazy. I need to reach out to him. I saw the craziest study the other day.
Really?
That since COVID, and we're on the Zoom calls and we're all in Teams meetings and in every other video conferencing app that's out there, right? The number of people who look at themselves versus the speaker on the camera is causing more people to get plastic surgery. So he's gonna be on the uptick.
Absolutely, yeah, I guess so. Those Zoom calls, there's a connection there for sure. Right. How about that?
You open up the Zoom and you're like, God, I look terrible.
Man, look at me. Yeah. Is it the lighting? I've been guilty of that. Moving the laptop screen a little bit, trying to get the right angle.
So Dr. Weiler, he's your Instagram filter for real life.
There you. So hey, that should be a slogan. That's pretty good.
You know what? I should charge him for that.
There you go. Yeah. Don't give that one for free.
We got Fabian Edwards in with us. Okay, you specialize on the office front, but there were some pretty big numbers out there that I want to touch on.
Absolutely.
Let's move over to land real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Why was volume so heavy in November?
So more land transactions are happening. If you track back to, let's say, immediately post-COVID, the difficulties that we've seen with land deals, not only interest rates, making the purchase, those sorts of things, but the uptick in construction costs immediately after COVID made developments really difficult to pencil.
Yeah.
For someone to go out, buy raw land at, financed at a higher rate, and then have to pay these exorbitant construction costs, and then turn around, bring it to market at a number of folks would buy it or lease it for, it just made it really tough.
Right.
So what I think we're seeing is construction costs have definitely tapered some. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see pre-COVID numbers again.
No, we won't.
But as things start to ease and as more of those deals happen, it's just that the market is rebounding in the land world.
Yeah, the number was volume was up 14.39% for November. That's ridiculous.
That's big.
That is big. And again, it's a 1 month number, so it might be a blip on the radar. Best to look at it over a long term. But with, like you said, 2022, where interest rates were then, numbers were so high. The drop off for 23, and then the first half or first 3 quarters even of 2024, seeing the decrease stop.
Yes, exactly.
That's to me, that's plenty.
Absolutely.
Let's move over to retail real quick, because this is one. I get the office part, I get the land part.
Right.
The real retail with values, volume, and velocity all being up, value and volume being up by double digits.
Right.
What's that stemming from?
So I think retail, oddly enough, post COVID was one of the first to rebound. The office really took the bigger hit with folks transitioning into hybrid, but retail, although there was a big dip immediately post COVID with the shutdown orders and so forth. So right after that, but retail came back really strong at the 2024 Trends event. Retail was probably one of the most positive segments because we've just continued to see a lot of movement in the right direction. Now, I think part of that is the fact that we're in the fourth quarter, and generally for all segments, just commercial real estate as a whole, more transactions are done in the fourth quarter, so that contributes to that.
Wait.
And I think,
just for clarification purposes, what defines as retail?
Oh, so excellent question. So small strip centers, standalone restaurants,
right?
Generally, those two make up the bulk.
Right. Well, and I wanted to clarify that because what's in the small strip center doesn't affect whether or not it's retail or not. So,
right.
When you think retail, you think, man, if volume was up almost 14%, did everybody go open a boutique? No, that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
So, but it's based off of where it is, not what it is.
Absolutely, yes. So restaurants, things like hair salons, is retail. I mean, a lot of people, like you said, they think of actually going in and purchasing a good, but it's services as well.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, everything from, you have, takeout food.
That's right.
To a lit pizza to that being there's a like a express DMV.
Yeah,
might
that's
even
it.
be,
Sure.
So
absolutely. Yep.
It all if it's in a strip shopping center, that's where it'll fit right there. We got about 2.5 minutes left with Fabian Edwards from Elephant. I know you're on the commercial side, but do you have enough background on residential to?
A little bit. I mean, I can, at Elephant, we're 100% commercial. I don't do any residential brokerage. We stay in the commercial world, but through conversations with some residential agents and some of our connections over there, I can speak to that a little bit. I think that overall, we are cautiously optimistic in the retail, residential world. I think that similar to, let's say, office, where you have a lot of owner occupants that are kind of biting the bullet and purchasing something larger if they need to expand or smaller if their business is contracting. We're seeing a lot of folks in the residential world kind of settle into the new normal of some of these interest rates. And I think that if we get every quarter point rate reduction we get, I think not only from a dollars and cents perspective will that be good for the residential world, but just from a psychological standpoint, I think that'll be really helpful in getting people to transact.
Multifamily numbers were up. So when you're talking apartment buildings, townhomes, that sort of thing, multifamily numbers were up. Is there any corresponding? Is there any way to follow one means the other is going to go in the same way or a different way?
That's a really good question. Generally, in the multifamily world, I mean, 99% of the folks that are buying the products that are in our report are investors.
Right.
So they're not necessarily buying a fourplex to live in one. There are some out there, but not enough to really make a meaningful difference. So in the multifamily world, I mean, that is truly a 100% investment product.
Yeah.
Whereas office and retail, sometimes even in land, you'll have investors sprinkled in with owner occupants. In the multifamily world, it's a different animal.
He is Fabian Edwards with Elephant Realty. Man, we always appreciate the time and the update, especially when the news is this good.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Thank you. We got news coming your way in just a quick second. After we check news, we'll check traffic. After we check traffic, we'll check weather. And then Patty G is going to join us. Yeah, Patty G's back in the saddle. It's been a minute for sure. Hey, before we hit news, don't forget Coach Kim Mulkey and the LSU Tigers hit the road. Nope, they come home Monday to take on Vanderbilt. It's not going to be a Sunday game like normal. Monday against Vanderbilt. You will hear that right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, time for news. Here, start with ABC before we go local, right here on Talk 107.3. All right.
Good deal. Good stuff. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having
me. Moving as always.
Your that Weiler slogan. Man, he should use that. Your Instagram filter for real life? That's gold. That's
beer pong or something?
No.
But I mean, hey, you got the Facebook Live feed sold.
The Lake Urgent Care.
Yeah, that's huge.
I know.
I mean, that's the move.
I've got a lot sold. In fact, the only thing I'm really struggling on right now is actual live reads.
Really?
Yeah. And for some reason, I can't get top stories and trending to sell.
Really?
It's the most baffling thing to me. It is the most listened to segment of the day. It runs at 6:05 and 7:05. You get 2 hits per day instead of 1.
I mean, what are you pricing it at? For every day?
Yeah.
Twice a day?
Twice a day, plus all the promos that go with it.
So you're talking 40 reads, roughly?
Yeah.
I'm talking $45 a pop. Roughly.
Yeah. Your guess is as good as mine, man.
Well, hopefully all of that, all those dollars will start coming back now that we're in the new year.
I think I'm going to get it sold when I'm up in Washington.
When you go to Washington?
Yeah.
Did I tell you about the date of the patio party the other day? February 20th. Thursday. Evening, 5:30. 3rd annual.
What time?
5:30 till the last person leaves. At Earl's, bring your wife or another plus.
At where? Uncle Earl's?
Uncle Earl's, yeah. On the patio. Bring your wife for another plus one.
Okay.
We're gonna have custom hats being made for everybody.
5:30?
Yeah.
Got it.
Custom hats like Brittany Rose's, if anybody wants one.
I'm so sick of people pushing hats.
Why?
Because they're stupid. It's like
hat, like ball caps, or
Yeah.
or like just hats in general.
Ball caps. I'm awful.
But it's not a ball cap. It's one of those like flat brim hats where it can make it a cowboy hat.
What?
Mm-hmm.
You would.
I don't have one, but I really want one. You just customize it, man. See? Gotta think out the box.
We're still looking to break in the rain in downtown Baton Rouge. How's that stacking up moving forward? Here's your forecast with WBRZ meteorologist and McCade Cowan. All right. You've been in studio for all of 3 minutes now. Let's see if Facebook has commented on your sweater vest yet.
It's not a sweater vest. I mean, I had to bring it out the first day back.
I know. I teased it at the beginning.
That I was going to be in a vest?
Hell yeah.
It's been vest weather all week, man. Mostly because I don't own an overcoat. So
it's been coat weather all week.
I don't own an overcoat. Coming in hot with the bump music.
Yeah.
I like it.
You don't even know John yet.
I don't. Hey, John. What's up?
Been far too long. Far too long. All right, we're moving right along here. It is Mornings with Brian Haldane. It is 7:38. It is still 46 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Coming off his unbelievably lengthy hiatus. Time to welcome back to the studio one Patrick Gremion. Patty G, what's happening, brother?
Good morning, Brian. I am excited to be back.
I'm glad to have you back on, man. But it's so. Let's give the backstory here. You decided to go off and be a dad, and I can't hate on that because I got 3 kids of my own, right?
Right. I'm just trying to catch up. That's all I'm trying to do.
You're on that front end of the stage, though, right? You're on where the babies are very, very needy. So pulling you in here on a weekly basis, it got untenable.
It got tedious having a 2-year-old and a newborn, for sure.
Yeah, no, I know.
Now we're at 15 months and 3, so
right.
we can play this now.
But that being said, though, with the career on the uptick too, which you get exciting news there, is we're getting you back in once a month.
Yes,
weekly would be a bit much.
Weekly, I mean, I would make it work for you, Brian. But weekly is just it's a hard commitment.
It is. It's
not
a
that
lot.
I don't love seeing you.
It's same.
Yeah,
but it would. I think monthly is a good place for us to start right there.
I agree. I think my little boy's at home watching me now. He's of that age where he's like, "Mommy, can we watch Daddy on Facebook?"
So for those that don't remember, Patrick Gremion is the host of the Patty G Show, which is a business-based podcast. It's not unlike My Louisiana Business Weekly. There's a lot of similarities there because it's just telling stories about how you got to where you are.
Yeah,
and stories about success and failure. Stories about how people put together their own skill sets to make the most of those skill sets.
Yeah, finding a new path late in life or charting off right out the gate with something brand new. We've got people all over the map, and we interchange guests here and there, so there's some similarities. But I think that just goes to show that people in Baton Rouge are really doing cool stuff.
Exactly.
Really
cool
stuff.
So how do we bottle it and make more happen? That was the genesis of you and I getting together for this segment. We're going to take a couple different paths this morning, though. But before we do, though, let's catch up. How's the Patty G Show been going?
The Patty G Show has been going very well. We just hit episode 250 this week.
Okay.
So 250 over 6 years, and I still feel like we're just getting started.
Yeah.
Like we've been in the same space we're at the Tech Park. We've got some upcoming exciting news I'll be able to spill next month in regards to that.
Okay.
Still ironing out the details, but exciting nonetheless.
Okay.
And we've actually ventured out into helping other folks with their podcasts. And so we started a whole new company, PB&J Productions, where we actually help people produce their shows and flesh out their algorithms and videos.
The follow-up question, what does PB&J stand for?
Not too much. We just found a little logo we created using AI, and it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And so we kind of stick out a little bit.
Why?
Okay, so there's
got to be backstory here, man.
So it is PB&J. So it's Patrick, myself, and then Jay, my business partner. And so that's where the J came from. And we were like, we can't really just have
P&J.
P&J didn't sound good.
No, it doesn't sound good.
And so it was over lunch, naturally. And so we got food on the brain. And we were like, let's just make it PB&J Productions and just go totally off the wall with branding. Make it really, really unique and funny. And we'll do something with going after lunchbox comedy. We'll have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in a box or something and start giving it to them on our first meetings with clients or figure out some kind of play with peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of naming relations there, but if you ask me what the B is for, maybe Best. There we go. Best Productions.
Okay. All right. PB&J Productions on the move right now. You said you've got other podcasts under the umbrella there?
So we have a few podcasts that we're recording and producing right now. We're helping out Vivid Inc. with their Vivid Talk show, so we're helping them record it and produce it. And we've got a few other folks that we're trying to button up and iron out, but we've probably got about, I want to say, 5 or 6 people we're producing and recording their shows for.
Okay, very cool stuff. If you're not familiar with it, check out. I would start with the Patty G Show for sure.
Start there.
Yeah, absolutely. Check it out. Very, very worthwhile. If you really want to scroll back in the archives, I was a guest about 1 billion years ago.
You were a guest pre-COVID, back when I was recording on my outdoor patio.
Yeah, when every other guest that you had on, you'd pop a couple of cold ones, and the one time that I come on, you're like, yeah, I gave up drinking for Lent, so.
And the worst part was it was coming off of one that we just had a fancy bottle of wine on, and you show up, you're like, man, I'm really excited. What are we drinking tonight?
I was fired up for it.
We had the lights and the aesthetics all set. You're like, all right, man, where's the booze? And I just pull a glass of water. I was like, here you go, Brian.
You talk about the inklings of everything. We were broadcasting live from your back porch.
We were broadcasting live.
No, we were recording on your back porch.
No, I think we were streaming live to Facebook.
Oh, we were. That's right.
On my iPhone.
Yeah.
So we were recording live to Facebook on my iPhone, and as soon as we got off of the air, so to speak, you pulled up your phone and you said, "I just got a text message that this COVID thing's real."
That's right.
And you were like, my work's about to get crazy. I'm gonna have to start.
Yep.
You're like, I'm gonna have to start talking about this on air.
This was March of 2020.
Uh-huh.
All right. Yep.
Long time ago.
Man, I remember that. All right. We got business to talk about, though. All right. So, can we start with beneficial ownership information?
Yes. Beneficial ownership information, BOIR, as it's often referred to.
The report, yes.
Yeah.
BOIR.
BOIR.
Not just boy.
Yeah, not just boy report is. So in the other side of things that I do during the day, being the CPA world, we get just so many emails from people saying, "Hey, somebody told me I need to file this information report online with the IRS." I'm like, no. Like, was it supposed to be with the state? I'm like, no. It's with FinCEN. Like, it's a totally different governmental organization.
What?
Yeah.
FinCEN?
Financial Enforcement Crimes Unit.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to help curb the money laundering that's occurring in the U.S. So they're trying to get criminals to report that they're doing criminal activity.
Trying to get criminals to report that they're doing criminal activity.
Right.
And how's that working out?
Well, it's no longer mandatory as of right now. Currently, it's been paused because apparently people didn't like having to report who the actual owners are, and so they're now deeming it unconstitutional.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, walk me through a little bit of this. First of all, the constitutionality part of it, the Constitution is where we're talking about businesses or people?
Now they're trying to say businesses or people.
Okay.
So they're trying to, well, and there's obviously certain exceptions that don't have to file. But yes, for example, you own a business, I'm assuming, for your side hustle gigs and everything. You have an LLC.
Well, Haldane
right?
Media LLC, yes.
Right. So you have an LLC, which is a limited liability corporation. And so you're trying to limit your liability by creating that LLC to conduct business.
Yeah.
Now they're saying we need to know who is conducting that business as the owner, and also who has strategic positions that can make decisions for that business as a beneficial owner.
Okay, I would imagine on a very personal level, on the very small mom and pop, that if it's pop doesn't need to drag mom into it. But in real life, let's call it a hardware store. Okay, it's not like a Home Depot or an Ace True Value or anything like that.
Yeah,
just Harry Smith's hardware store.
Yeah, or something like a Goodwood Hardware.
Harry and Susie, even smaller than that. Harry and Susie, right?
Got it.
Harry handles all the business. If Susie works up front, then what does the government need to know about that?
They need to know, number one, who's actually on the paperwork. So even though Harry's handling all the business, is Susie actually an owner of the company on paper? And if they're a married filing joint and it comes through on their Schedule C on the tax return, are they tallying it up as taxpayer, or are they tallying it up as joint or spouse? They got to know who is the actual owner of Sue's hardware store.
Now, this applies all the way down, right? There's no bottom of the rung that says if you have this level of income or this level of net revenue.
There's no
year.
floor.
Right.
There's only a ceiling.
This feels so burdensome.
So when you hear about it and you're like, I've got to go and file this report, but if it's a mom and pop shop, it really isn't too burdensome if you go through the procedure. Number one, it's free to file on the BOI's website.
Okay.
On FinCEN's website, I'm sorry. However, there are so many scams out there that when you Google file BOIR, there's 6 different links that are going to come up and as sponsored. And the dead giveaway is if they say it's $300 filing fee. That's the dead giveaway. You're on the wrong website.
Okay. All right.
So in all, if you do it and you get proficient at it, you can probably knock out a report in maybe 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the number of owners. If you've got somebody that's got 100 different partners in it, it's going to take you a little bit longer.
Walk me through a few scenarios where it would take longer. Walk me through what does that look like because I know what an LLC would look like, but that's my little side gig. Where would we see something that it would get towards that burdensome part?
So, for example, you've got a partnership that is 4 partners. They're equal owners, so they're all 25% owners. That means that they meet the threshold that all 4 now have to be reported. So when I report them, you have to get their name, their address, their date of birth, their copy of their driver's license and or passport and upload all of that for each one on this report. Then you have to get the original filing of the company, what the EIN is, that address. And then if it was made in 2024, you have to know who actually filed, like who clicked file with the Secretary of State website for that company, whether it was the owner or a lawyer.
Why is this part of just the taxes to begin with?
That's my question. Why isn't it that they're using why can't they use the Secretary of State website information? But then it goes into
well, you gotta
there's
know how many
layers.
people on payroll and how much salary goes out and all that other.
No. Not for. Are you talking about for taxes?
Yeah.
Oh, Brian, that would mean that the different agencies have to talk to one another.
Ah, okay. So easier to make us do all the work.
Correct.
By the way, and we got 1 minute till break, and after we break, we're going to pivot and talk about taxes or talk about e-filing a bunch of stuff. But one of the main reasons we're bringing this up is because the deadline for this report is Monday.
Was Monday.
Whoa.
They've flip-flop so many times over the last 90 days that right now they're just saying it's on pause, but it's voluntary and we encourage you to file.
Penalty for non-compliance? Well,
No.
you said voluntary.
No, there's no.
You said
There used to be.
voluntary.
There was a $500 a day penalty, but then they said this is unconstitutional. You can't make this. You can't make business owners do this. So now it's on pause, and you can voluntarily file.
You would talk about just fueling my hatred for bureaucracy. We got Your Money Now coming your way right now. He's Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show. We will continue next. God, I hate bureaucrats so much.
It's ridiculous.
It's so much. They make the DMV look like a self-checkout line.
So, yes. And so you've got it in a case where for you it's very simple, black and white, super easy. What they're trying to hone in on are the people that are 6 LLCs deep doing business. They want to know who that 6th LLC business beneficial owner is. So if it's ABC Co. owned by DEF Co. owned by GHI Co. owned by XYZ Co., they want to know who's the owner of XYZ Co. for ABC Co.
I'm trying to, I don't think the constitutional argument's the right one here.
It's held up.
There's nothing in the Constitution that protects you from that, though.
Well,
I don't know the bureaucratic side. I do know the Constitution.
Yeah. So I'm no.
Constitutionally, there's nothing that would protect the business owner, but also constitutionally, there's nothing that gives the government the right to ask.
Yeah.
So you know what? That's the flip side of it.
Yeah. So it's the Texas Top Cop Shop Inc. et al. Versus Garland et al. Is the current court case that's got it held up.
Top Cop Shop.
So they.
The genesis of this is political. Just by the name of that company, I could tell you that somewhere on the back end of that.
Well, it's Texas Top Cop Shop Inc. et al. So and others.
Right.
Versus Garland et al.
Garland's a township, right, or the city?
I believe so.
Garland, Texas. Yeah.
So their whole website, you have to scroll through Financial Crimes Enforcement Network to get to at the bottom where they say alert, ongoing litigation, we're now voluntary. So it's voluntary submissions are requested. If you want to file it, great, but we can't actually legally enforce you or penalize you. But beforehand, it was a scary situation where if you didn't file...
When you hear hardcore Republicans talk about the deep state, this is the shit they're talking about.
Dude. Yeah.
This is the what did you call it? FinCEN?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have... Who gives them their authority?
Financial Crimes Enforcement Network.
Network. What does that mean? Are they
part
a division of the FBI?
Part of the U.S. Treasury. An official website of the United States government.
I mean, that doesn't mean shit to me. Like, I could call my show antibacterial. It doesn't mean shit.
Here we go. Let's go to About. Is a bureau of the U.S. Department of the Treasury. So they exercise regulatory functions under the Financial Transactions Reporting Act of 1970, amended by the Title III of the USA Patriot Act of 2001. So they were put into place back in the 70s.
Amended under the Patriot Act means they're trying to root out terrorism.
Terrorism and money laundering. Part of the anti-money laundering mission. So it's, maybe in a way of trying to make sure that politicians' shell corporations aren't being used to funnel money back and forth across different things.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're an elected official and you've got 4 shell corporations that you're using to pay Peter and pay Paul, they want to know who's doing it.
Right. But that's a political individual in order to weaponize where money's coming from your opposition. That's how you corner the market on.
Meanwhile, the small business owners, the mom and pops, and everybody that's just trying to make a dollar the right way has to go through this last year of fretting what is going to happen if I'm a day late and they start penalizing me $500 a day when I don't make $500 in profit a day. Now they're going to put me under because I didn't file this report?
Yeah, I'd have to go full Les Grossman on that. As always, I'm so far behind on live reads.
It's all good. It's all good. Just throw them all in at once.
Just knock some out.
755 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We got Patty G in the house. Before we get back to Patty G, and we're going to talk about State Department revenue here for our final couple minutes. But before we get back to that, got to remind you about the folks over at P.F. Chang's. Yes, they will be open for lunch today. Yes, you can enjoy that Mongolian beef. Yes, you can enjoy those chicken lettuce wraps. Yes, you can order the Golden Feast if you really want to have a good time. Look, they've got traditional dishes. They've got Asian-inspired dishes. They are in an upscale setting without being snooty about it. It's probably my favorite part, aside from all the wonderful Asian flavors. But you have that upscale setting. It's not like it's not like running in to just grab some run-of-the-mill takeout Chinese. You are going to get fresher ingredients. You are going to get crisper ingredients. You're going to get all the flavors, to be sure. The PF in PF Chang stands for Paul Fleming, who is from Louisiana. No, seriously. He's from Louisiana, grew up in New Iberia, and he got to start in the restaurant business opening up Ruth's Chris Steakhouse franchises. So you're getting a standard of excellence right from jump. He teamed up with Chang. That's where the menu came from, and you got P.F. Chang's. You'll find him in on Corporate Boulevard and Town Center. Look for the giant golden horse. It's P.F. Chang's. All right, Patrick, we got a couple minutes left.
Golden horse, baby.
The giant golden horse.
Love the golden horse.
It's they frown upon kids climbing on that, but kids still do.
Details.
Yeah.
Details.
This year, the Department of Revenue, State Department of Revenue, was no longer going to mail printed copies of tax paperwork to businesses. This is a decision that's supposed to save taxpayers up to $100,000 in printing and mailing costs. What does this mean from the business's perspective?
So it is the sales tax forms that are typically mailed, and I can see how it's going to save some money because they print it out in white, black, and red ink. So they're using colored ink on these forms, and they're sending it out. Some businesses are filing monthly, some are filing quarterly, and some are filing annually. And it's just, whenever I get it in the mail for a client, I'm throwing it away. I'm shredding it. It's no good to me because I'm using their online tools, using LA Tap, using Parish E-File, or going to the actual Louisiana Revenue website and filing the tax return. What this means for business owners is they can no longer sit there at their desk and handwrite their sales tax returns. They have to actually go online to file them now, which some of them may be hesitant to do it. Some of them may not want to do it, but it's 2025, people.
No, I understand fully. But if they think they're saving $100,000 in printing costs, they're going to lose that immediately with how much it's going to take to man the help desk.
Yes.
That's going to be a wash.
100% for the new people ever doing it, but in everything that I've seen, the hundreds of folks I've helped file their sales tax returns, none of them have ever done it on paper.
Right.
Yet they still get it in the mail. That's not to say that everybody operates that way, but any person I've ever spoken with and worked for, they have only ever filed it online. So I'm hopeful it won't be as big of a all of a sudden blow up on the help desk, but there will be some people calling for sure that are not happy about it or saying, "Where's my sales tax return? I need to file it."
Patrick. Hang on. You talk about the number of people that you've helped out,
right?
Which means they're already bringing in a professional accountant. Let's go back to the mom and pop hardware store.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
That's the guy I'm worried about right here. That's the guy who's gonna be like, cannot figure out heads nor tails of it.
Well, then they've got hopefully some family members that can work around a computer or something to help them figure it out. Or if I had to guess, they're going to call the help desk, have them walk them through it. Or I imagine some of them are just going to walk down to the Department of Revenue and say, "I'm here to file my sales tax return in person."
I would love that so much.
You know it's going to happen.
I know.
You know someone's going to walk in there
great is
and
that
be
gonna
like,
be, though?
"It's the 19th of the month. My sales tax return's due tomorrow. I'm here to file it. I need you to print it out so I can handwrite it."
And I brought cash.
Yes. Down to the penny.
So great. So great to have you back. He's Patrick Gremion, host of the Patty G Show. We will see you soon, brother.
Thank you.
It's 8 o'clock. Heads up 8 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM. A lot of ground still to cover on the show. We're talking with the R Street Institute coming up at 8:15, but we got This Day in History next.
Yeah. You know Steve from the hardware store is going to walk in there.
Hey, man, look.
Here's my sales reports. I need my paper.
I ain't never had a computer. I ain't never need a computer. I don't want a damn computer. You know that, like...
The ones that are still doing handwritten tickets instead of a POS?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile,
although...
we have to have an off-the-record conversation.
Yeah.
How much... Yeah. 806, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Getting some free accounting advice in the back end right there. Thanks again to Patrick Remy for hopping back on board. I did not open Facebook during that, John. Were they making fun of the Sweater Fest?
Oh, yeah, he had a few shout-outs on there.
Patrick is he's a very vest-driven guy.
Yeah, Troy says at 7:40, the vest returns.
There it is. See, okay, so Patty G has been doing a segment since after I went on his show, and I was like, we gotta have this conversation because it's a great conversation every time he's in.
For sure.
And just the back and forth is fun, and of course he brings a lot of information to the table. So we started doing that every week, and then we started having kids. It's like, man, I just can't get down there. So. We're finally back to the spot now. We're finally back to the spot where we can get this back in on a at least a monthly basis. Hey, coming up this hour, how targeted violence shakes cities. The recent attacks in Las Vegas and New Orleans have rattled public confidence, casting shadows over what should be vibrant and safe communal spaces. These were not random crimes of opportunity. They were deliberate, calculated acts by individuals with clear motives. This is the kind of violence that cuts deep, reminding us of an uncomfortable truth. No matter how hard law enforcement officers work, some threats still go undetected. And that doesn't just hit home where it was targeted. That hits home everywhere. Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute going to join us in our next segment to talk about exactly that. Also this hour, we've got Foodie Friday. The folks from Vicious Biscuit coming in from Gonzales to bring us a little bit of breakfast. We'll be talking with them at 8:35. Before we get you to this day in history, got to remind you about the folks over at Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com is the website, parishbuilt.com. You are listening to one super happy customer when it comes to Parish Construction and Roofing. They say do business with someone you know. Well, Matt Moscone and Ryan Terrio, they're two of the owners. I know them, so I hopped on ParishBuilt.com. I filled out the little form. I had them come out to the house, sent them up on the roof to take the high-def pictures. They said, Brian, here's where your damage is. Here, 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 and here, and here. And they're like, you need a new roof, boss. And I was like, okay. This process has been amazingly easy. Been talking with Zach. Zach over at Parish Construction and Roofing has figuratively held my hand by dealing with the insurance adjuster, through scheduling things out, through I have 2 solar panels for my water heater on the roof, getting those down and back up again, picking up the shingles, installation, the whole works. It has been nothing short of phenomenal. 364-1007 is the phone number, or check them out online at parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know at Parish Construction and Roofing. All right, time for this day in history. Let's roll. All right, John, what you got?
Oh, man. Hey, speaking of Back to the Future, man, the cast is actually going to be in New Orleans this weekend for Fan Expo New Orleans. And so
what?
Really exciting stuff.
Okay.
Really exciting. Wish I was there.
Now, let me go ahead and do this, all right? Who's the guy that plays Biff? I don't remember his real name. Look up Biff Tannen's real name.
Yeah.
Yeah, look up Biff Tannen's real name.
He'll be there.
But here's the thing. Not just there. Search around for comedy in New Orleans this weekend.
Yeah.
I have no idea if he's performing somewhere or not, but I do know if he is, you want to go see him.
Thomas F. Wilson.
That's it.
Yep.
If you get the chance, go see him.
Yeah,
Funny guy.
He'll be in town.
He actually does a great song about his
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So
probably making its way around TikTok.
Yep. I would go check that out if you get the chance.
Hey, starting off this day in history, in 1911, the first photo in U.S. was taken from an airplane in San Diego.
Okay.
First picture taken in the U.S. Hey, 1943.
Hey, look, it's half a wing.
Yeah.
They're all half a wing.
First U.S. president to visit a foreign country in wartime, FDR leaves Casablanca, Morocco in 1943.
Really?
1956 music news here. Elvis Presley records a single, Heartbreak Hotel, in Nashville. 1967, PBS begins a 70-station network this day, 1967.
Oh, cool.
China lifts martial law in 1990, imposed after the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989.
Y'all.
I think you'll really like this one, Brian. 1999. You know what premiered today? The Sopranos.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
Glad you had that.
Yes, indeed.
I had it down.
Yes, indeed. 2018 here. Jeff Bezos becomes the second man worth over $100 billion as his wealth hits $106 billion due to a rise in Amazon's share price. Oh, man, we were talking about R. Kelly yesterday. It was this day in 2019 that Lady Gaga apologizes for working with R. Kelly in light of the docuseries Surviving R. Kelly.
Okay. Apologize for working with him like she was supposed to know.
Right.
How pretentious.
Like, sorry for working with him. It's like, okay.
I've been to a Lady Gaga concert, and it was awesome.
I would imagine.
The woman puts on a hell of a show.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
But, oh, my God.
Come on.
I'm so sorry I even knew him.
Hey, 2022, the U.S. Mint issues quarter coins commemorating poet Maya Angelou.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Anything else on this day?
This day in 1776, Common Sense was released. So.
Okay.
Yep. Birthdays, what you got?
All right. Starting off, I got George Foreman. George Foreman starting the list of birthdays today.
Yep.
Rod Stewart as well.
Yep.
Let's see who else we got here.
Got a couple more to go.
Yeah. What we got on your end?
On my end, they're all on the sports end for me.
Okay.
All right. And there are a few. So, and I know our next guest is already on hold, so we got to move quickly here. Glenn Big Dog Robinson, a former Bucks forward, but I think most of us know him from his Final Four action. But also former Saints quarterback Jake Delhomme and former Alabama defensive back, but he's from right down the road at Dutchtown. Landon Collins, it's his birthday as well.
Okay, yeah. Moving on to this here. David Bowie this day in 2016.
David Bowie. Yep.
Coco Chanel in 1971. Jeff Beck 2023.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it's a little scattered, but yeah, just for the sake of time.
Well, also, Samuel Colt died on this day in 1862.
Yep.
Musician Howlin' Wolf, 1976. And, I know there was one more. There was one more. Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
Not Silence of the Lambs.
No. Immediately.
What national day you got?
I got I got a few here. Let's go with Quitter's Day. Prepare to be well motivated.
That's correct. It is Quitter's Day. Today is the day that most people give up on their New Year's resolutions.
Yep. This is the day to inspire those people to not quit.
No.
Keep going.
That's
whatever
right.
it is.
All right. We're due up for a break. We're actually running long for a break. When we come back, we've got Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute. Let's talk about the after effects of the terror attack in New Orleans next. Please make sure that's her.
Thank you for holding. Is this Miss Jillian? All right. Yeah, sorry to keep you waiting. We'll have you on here in just about 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
All right, I'm cheering for Notre Dame next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Marcus Freeman.
Okay.
What was the guy's name? Thomas Wilson?
Let me double
check. Hey!
I believe so, though.
Going all right. How are you? Come on in.
Vicious Biscuit.
Yeah, absolutely. I got one segment before yours, and then we'll get into it.
Sounds good. Awesome. How you doing, sir? John.
John,
Nice
Zach,
to meet you.
Anywhere I should?
Nice hangout. You can have a seat if you want.
Is there a bathroom I can use?
Hey, right, swing to your left, and then to the right. Thomas Wilson.
Yep. Thomas F. Wilson. Yeah, man, I would love to be out there. Michael J. Fox is going to be out there. Dean Cain's going to be out there. There's, yeah, it's massive.
Okay.
What? Oh, you got,
now.
Yeah, you got a few minutes.
I was on tech support all day yesterday with the Bees and his cousin.
Oh God.
For some reason, these new updates do not make Bees an intro. I'm gonna go out to Charlie.
Who the hell is Charlie? Oh, Henry.
It's every day alive at launch.
Yeah.
The laptop I bought for him, which I would have bet money was the same model as these.
Yeah.
We use it as an input.
Because
Something has changed.
the USB is digital now. That's like the audio is digital, like as opposed to. Yeah.
He's surprised. They're surprised that tech support at Go that this can't be a line in.
That does not assure. That does not instill a lot of confidence, does it? I don't know. All right. 818 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're running a little bit long there. My apologies in advance. Every so often, I catch a column over at the R Street Institute that just really sends the radar going here. And this was one that fits that mold. How targeted violence shakes cities. Joining us now is Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute. Jillian, good morning. Welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am very well as well. So we're on here in Baton Rouge. We're 1 hour away from New Orleans, and we've had, a front row seat for what went down on New Year's morning. Talk to me a little bit about your column and about how it just, no matter what preparations you take, no matter what angles you go after, sometimes those with clear motives and a lot of dedication are going to find that way to get around undetected.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As you know, I was a police officer for the NYPD for a long time. And, on days like New Year's or other types of big, massive celebrations that cities hold, we know that a lot of people are going to come together to celebrate, to be with their friends and loved ones. And that is when things like this, again, targeted attacks like this are not common, but when they do occur, they occur because someone has that motive, has that drive to cause the most havoc they can. And in this case, what had occurred is this person, from reports that we've heard thus far, he wanted to make the news. He wanted to gain national attention for causing the maximum amount of destruction.
In hindsight, and it's hard to say this with 14 lives lost and 10 people are actually still in the hospital more than a week later. That being said, he didn't cause the most destruction possible. How important is it to remember that in the aftermath?
And again, you're right. They said that he had explosive devices that had they, went off or worked properly, it would have caused even more, death and more injury to people. Mm-hmm. I think what he wanted, he didn't get. And the more that we talk about him, and what he did is how we provoke, fear in citizens. And I think that people need to understand that, again, this is scary. When things like this happen, it causes people to fear for their safety. But that's when community should come together and be vigilant. And, even something as simple as a neighborhood watch program, as I noted in my article, or, everyone knows the slogan, you see something, you say something. People always make the assumption that someone else will say something. But when you do note something suspicious or something that makes you a little weary, you should be picking up that phone and you should be calling it in, even if it turns out to be nothing. You did your due diligence to protect yourself and your community.
We are talking with Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute about the kind of the aftermath of the attack in New Orleans and what went down in Las Vegas as well. And yeah, you said that the two explosive devices that he had planted, they didn't have a chance to go off because of the quick work of the NOPD. They got on the scene and they put him down in a hurry. I think that's another part to note there is that working in tandem, yes, vigilance, absolutely, and we'll dive into that in a little bit as well. But working in tandem with police is, and recognizing when they do good, is a big part of this equation.
It is, and I know that there are initial reports that there's questions about how the police responded. I actually believe I saw an article that lawsuits have already been filed against both the city and the police department. But as I write and as I know just from firsthand experience, police can't stop everything bad from happening, and that's why community members are so important. But in this case, I think that the police acted with great haste. I think that they were able to prevent even further tragedy, as you noted. And, no one has the expectation that someone is going to ram their car into a group of people on a night that we celebrate a new year. But they were there. They were trying to stop it before it got any worse. And that's all they can do. Policing, there's a lot of proactive policing that we try and do, but most of policing, unfortunately, is reactive. We are responding in real time to critical incidents. And I think just based on what I know so far, I think the police did the best job possible.
Okay, that being said, Jillian, we do still have to walk down the path that two things can be true at the same time, right? It's the police who were on foot 3 blocks up Bourbon Street responded beautifully, but can you still walk down the path of reviewing whether or not there was some level of negligence for not having the road cut off on the front end? Like, how do we reconcile that on the back end?
Well, we have to, I don't know what the New Orleans Police Department protocols are, so of course I'm sure that they are being heavily scrutinized. When I used to do New Year's Eve detail in Midtown Manhattan, as you can imagine, there's like hundreds of thousands of people there, and, we start pre-planning the way in which we are going to try and keep everyone there safe. We do it months in advance. The road closures, the way in which we set up the barricades to not let cars come through, the way that we have pens basically of people grouped together, and then they are stuck in that pen, and if they decide to leave, they're not coming back, because we're trying to do everything that we can proactively to make sure something like this doesn't happen. Now, I am not familiar with New Orleans way in which they develop a tactical plan for something like this, but most agencies will have well in advance their strategic plan or their tactical plan, however you call it, to make sure that officers know what their assignment is, officers know what they have to do if a situation like this arises or a situation like that arises. They usually are well briefed in advance on what their role is for that night.
We're talking with Jillian Snider from the R Street Institute. Kind of the aftermath of the New Orleans attack, but more to the point, moving forward together as a community. Okay, let's go back to that with the public. For the public, vigilance is key. You go on to write, this doesn't mean living with paranoia. It means staying informed and prepared by participating in neighborhood watch programs, reporting suspicious activity, and understanding basic safety protocols. Jillian, how do we walk that line that takes in everything without being paranoid of everything at the same time?
It's hard. It's challenging. But because things like this don't happen all the time, I don't want people to feel like they have to live with that fear or paranoia. I also am a professor at John Jay College in New York City, and most of my students, they live in New York. When they see things like this happen, they immediately get fearful for their safety. As you've seen, and I'm sure everyone else listening has heard, we've had some incidents on the New York City subways in recent weeks. We had that person set on fire. We've had random people pushed in front of trains. And that makes people scared to do what they regularly do daily, ride the subway to work, ride the subway to school. And we can't be paranoid because bad things do happen, but people need to be aware of their surroundings. And when I talk to my students about this, I'm like, even something as simple as, most people walk down the street, you have your earbuds in because you don't want to hear the noise of the streets. Right. Don't have both of them in, have one in so you can hear what's going on around you. Don't walk with your head, in your cell phone. Walk and be aware of your surroundings. Look around. Even when you're riding a subway car, know who's sitting next to you, know who's sitting across from you. And it's basic things like that it's not living in paranoia. It's being aware of where you are, who's around you, and what they're doing so that if something feels off, if something's making you feel a little uncomfortable, you could be prepared to either leave immediately or pick up the phone and call 911.
Jillian, I want to ask you, but you talk about the relationship between the police and the public, and that's kind of a two-way street there. Where's the balance of responsibility for not just sparking that relationship, but continuing it? When you talk about community engagement on the police end or intelligence sharing efforts, I feel like there's a shared responsibility here, but far too often the police pick up too much of the burden.
I couldn't agree more. I do think that, yes, law enforcement has a job to do, and it's to protect and serve the community. But unless we have the public's willingness to be cooperative, to call in tips, to call in suspicious activity, to file that police report, or if they are a witness to something, be a compliant witness, help law enforcement solve crime. And we've seen in the last several years, there's a breakdown of that mutual respect, that mutual trust. And that's why, like I said earlier, people will see something that they don't feel is right, but they don't want to deal with the police, or they just made the assumption that someone else picked up the phone and called 911. And unfortunately, that's not the case. People are not picking up the phone. They are not being willing to talk to police about what they know. You know, I used to work in Brooklyn and the South Bronx when I was a cop, and the most valuable asset that I had was the community that lived there, that worked there, that went to school there, because they know who the players are. They know who the bad people are. They know who the good people are. They know the vulnerable locations. And unless the community is more willing to just talk and provide that type of information, we can't have the expectation that police are going to be able to do everything, solve every crime, and, most importantly, prevent every tragedy.
Has social media made this better or worse?
Ooh, that's a flipped coin right there. So I know I only retired 4 years ago, so we did have a high level of social media when I was on the job, and it was important, because certain people did post things before, and it would allow law enforcement to intervene, whether it be stop it from the beginning or, reduce the amount of damage that was done. So in one way, and that's only if you have an offender that is, someone who wants to be on social media, brag or write a manifesto or give little clues before they commit their crime. We usually don't have that. We have it after the fact. After someone does something horrible, that's when we obviously have identified the suspect or offender, and that's when we're allowed to dig into their social media. But I do think that just the amount of people regularly who are posting, you now have all these apps in major cities, like Citizens app, where sometimes I like them and sometimes I don't like them. It depends on what you're using it for. But I do think that social media does allow the law enforcement to find out after the fact, which obviously is too late, but it does allow them to piece together how this crime occurred, the background on the offender, the motive, which most people, when they do see tragedy like this, the first question that people have is why. And I think understanding that makes people feel a little better, because at least there's a rationale to someone's horrible behavior. In this case, this person obviously had a political agenda to an extent, but also wanted to make national news. He wanted to go down in his mind in glory. And now that people are reading about it and understanding, there was really no stopping this person. And that should reduce people's level of paranoia, because now we see his dedication to this cause. And again, this does not happen regularly. So it's not a random act with no explanation. The public now understands why, and now they could move past it.
Great stuff. Very insightful, and it's a fantastic read as well. She is Jillian Snider. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. It's 8:30. Here's news. Hey, Brooklyn. How are you? Brooklyn, this is Zach. He's with Vicious Biscuit. We hadn't even dug in yet. So, yeah. I know. Come on over, Zach. Let me explain how we do this here. Is and sales ends up trickling down normally right after the show is over with. So set up whatever you need to set up. So we have we're going to show everything off on Facebook Live, which we're always on Facebook Live. And then the first segment is going to be you and me just talking about Vicious Biscuit, about the menu, about everything under the sun, what brought you all to town, how you get your name, all the good stuff. Then we go to break on air, but we're still on Facebook Live, and that's when I'll dig in and try whatever you want me to try. And then when we come back, I'll give a full-on review of whatever I just had, and then we'll give all the pertinent information about where to find you and all the good stuff, and then we're out.
Perfect, man.
It's it goes quick.
So I'll just put one of each of these omelets out.
Those are all different omelets?
So they're
Triple cracks!
We got our Fat Boy biscuit, which is
Holy shit!
Yeah, dude, So that's a Fat Boy, fried chicken, house made pimento cheese, hot honey drizzle. Then we got our Animal Farm, which is our candied bacon, egg and cheese. Yeah, dude, we're
Why are y'all all about Gonzalez?
Oh, we're building here in Baton Rouge.
Show that off. No.
Oh man, I got a little arms.
Oh, we're gonna show all this off. Look at that. Healthy as shit. Look at that.
I got some beautiful.
Okay. We're chatting for a while before I get in. And what is that one?
That's the Animal Farm. So that's
Animal Farm.
Oh, let's go.
I just heard about it recently, and I was like, no, we have to go and grab breakfast or brunch over here.
It's been 2 months, so we've seen some awesome sport.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
We're looking for spots right now in Baton Rouge, so Baton Rouge is next, Metaire's next. After that, and then
Do y'all know what
What's
there's not really. I mean, we'd love to be on like Perkins or Fort Britt or something like that, but I mean, there's not really much available. There's some available on like Seagan.
You don't want to be on Seagan.
Yeah, there's a new Long Farm.
That would be a good spot for y'all.
Just north of Prairieville.
Yeah.
So we'll just see what happens.
Zach, what's your last name?
Trujillo. Looks like Trujillo, but it's Trujillo. So that's your name? Zach Trujillo.
Zach with a K or Zach with an H? H? You from here?
I'm from Utah originally, but I've lived in Mississippi, Louisiana the last 4 years.
Okay.
Brought crumble cookies down first, so I own some crumble cookie franchises. And
The one on Seagan?
No, well, I'm the one own some in Mississippi and then Slidell.
Okay. Oh, by the way, speaking of St. Tammany Parish, I would put them up there if you're looking for new locations. Covington specifically. I grew up in Covington, and you can't go home again, right? Because when I grew up there, it was this sweet little small town, a lot of pine trees. Like now, it's Metairie North. You gotta give me 60 seconds to knock out a spot on the front end too. I ran long today. Oreo is a sandwich. Oh, trust issues is a weakness for me. Yeah, it's a very technical forecast right there. I look out the window. As the Eurythmics said, here comes the rain again. Still holding up in downtown Baton Rouge. I just checked the Doppler window. It's not back yet, but it will be. We've got a 100% chance that we're going to see more rain between now and noon. Now, afternoon, it should clear up a little bit. It should dry up a little bit. The clouds will still be out there, but the rain is going to go away for a couple days. Your high today only getting up to 46. Overnight low tonight down to 34. We'll top out at 51 as the sun peeks through a little bit tomorrow, then back down to 33 degrees. More rain on Sunday, and then, Monday we're going to get up to 60, and then all through next week, your highs are going to be in the 50s, your lows are going to be in the 30s. Right now, like I said, if it's not raining where you are yet, it will be soon, and it's 45 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. .837, about to be 8:38 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Foodie Friday coming your way in 60 seconds from right now. I need those 60 seconds to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. If you've invested in a European vehicle, you know what you're looking for. You're looking to get as much performance out of your vehicle as possible. You're also looking for longevity as well, because you made that investment in that car, and you want to make sure you get return on that investment. Look, I've got a 17-year-old Mercedes-Benz. I use Vex European. I go to Vex European. I hit on VexEuropean.com. Vex with a V. V-E-X. Vex is in Vinny, right? VexEuropean.com. I'm paired with a technician who knows Mercedes-Benz inside and out. A master-level technician, which means my car, which needs all the TLC possible at its age. I mean, my car can almost vote, y'all. And when I hit that gas pedal, I still get that giddy up. I still get the maximum performance out of that vehicle because of the expert-level technicians over at Vex. Hop on VexEuropean.com, hit the little drop-down tab where it says vehicles. If you see your make of vehicle right there, they've got you covered. And by the way, while you're on the website, hit that little specials tab as well. See if you can't save a couple of bucks along the way. Vex European, celebrating their 10th year in business. VexEuropean.com. All right, time for Foodie Friday. And we're going breakfast today, which is awesome, because normally when we have Foodie Friday, folks are bringing in dinners, and it's not even 9 o'clock in the morning yet.
Yeah.
So, Vicious Biscuit's in the house. Zach Trujillo is with us. Zach, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here.
I'm glad to have you on here. So, very rarely does a Foodie Friday start with a press release. But that's what happened this time. I got the press release that says, fuel your New Year's resolution with healthy, flavorsome meals at Vicious Biscuit. And I said, Vicious Biscuit? That's a cool name. I got to find out a little bit more about them, and started digging in and made contact with Michelle, and Michelle got me to you, and you're here today. So let's tell the whole story.
Yeah.
What's Vicious Biscuit?
Yeah, well, Vicious Biscuit is a new take on breakfast.
Okay.
So we have something literally for every single person. So we have something like we said in our press release, our omelets, our keto bowls, something for people that are trying to watch their weight or trying to be on a diet for the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have huge, ginormous, loaded biscuits with fried chicken and pimento cheese. We have shrimp and grits that we sell more of than anything else. And then we have a kids menu where, your kids can come and get a Belgian waffle and bacon. And then for the weekends, especially, sometimes during the week, we have our craft cocktails. And it's just a fun time. So,
Craft cocktails with breakfast?
Let's go. Mimosas with fresh squeezed orange juice.
Okay.
All that. So, yeah, there's something literally for everyone at Vicious Biscuit. That's what makes it kind of unique. And everything's made from scratch. Nothing's from a box. And, people love it. You can taste the freshness.
So, and we will taste when we get to our break on the air coming up at 8:50 when we check in with Your Money Now. And I got to tell you, the spread you brought in here today is looking amazing. We're going to walk through all those in just a minute, but a follow-up question on Vicious Biscuit. How does one come up with the name? Okay, if I'm being honest, it sounds like a failed college band. Right? But, how do you come up with the name Vicious Biscuit? What's that all about?
So, actually, this is a franchise. I'm a franchise owner.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of funny that I talked with the founder, or one of the founders, and they had a bunch of names that they were thinking of.
Okay.
And one person was eating at the restaurant one day, and they said, "This is vicious, like viciously delicious." They're like, "That's it." So
okay.
So it kind of just that's how it came about, and it's a really catchy name.
Yes, it is.
When people see it, they're like, Vicious Biscuit, what
Vicious-
is that?
Right.
And
But
then they see our
it
menu.
sounds
and-
like you'd be performing at frat houses throughout the SEC.
Absolutely, yes. 100%. Yeah. And maybe we will sometime. Who knows?
Starting your own band here.
Yes.
Healthy breakfast, big breakfast. You got it all over here. Walk me through a little bit of what you brought in today.
Yeah.
Because everything that you brought today is on the regular menu.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, regular menu.
What do we have here for us?
So first we have our Mile High omelet, which is our ham, our thick sliced ham, red peppers, onions, and then our white cheddar. Then we put our cowboy candy on top, which is our pickled jalapenos.
Okay, thank you.
A little bit of sweet, a little bit of spice. It's really,
I
really
saw
good.
cowboy candy in the press release, and I'm like, what's that
What
all
is
about?
that?
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's pickled jalapenos.
Pickled jalapenos.
Sweet
We
and
do that
pickled.
in house. It is it's a labor of love.
Okay.
And then we have our egg white omelet, which is our sautéed spinach, our egg whites, feta cheese, and then it's topped with our house-made pico de gallo.
Okay.
And freshly sliced avocados.
Yeah.
So that's like our healthy stuff that we brought. And then we brought our Fat Boy biscuit, which is my favorite biscuit. It's our buttermilk biscuit with fried chicken, our house-made pimento cheese, and then a hot honey drizzle. It is phenomenal. And then we also have our shrimp and grits, which our grits are white stone ground grits. It takes 45 minutes per batch to make.
Oh, wow.
A lot of love. It's not the instant grits. It's you can taste the difference. And then we also have our Animal Farm, which is our Vicious bacon, which is our candied bacon, little sweet, little spicy, with our egg and cheese on our buttermilk biscuit. And then
there's one more. There's one more up on the shelf.
Oh, that's just our regular buttermilk biscuit that goes with the shrimp and grits.
Oh, yeah. All right. So franchise started where?
Started in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay,
in 2017.
So when you say biscuit, you're thinking. I mean, the instant thought is Southern. So
Yes.
glad to see it was started someplace where they know biscuits.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's. I mean, Charleston was also where Bojangles was created. So it's kind of a biscuit haven.
Okay.
Where it was started, and now
I don't think we have Bojangles down here.
I think I saw one being built somewhere in Louisiana, but
okay.
But yeah, not really down here. But
yeah, no. It was like we went on vacation in Gatlinburg last year, Pigeon Forge. We saw Bojangles everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And it's like no. We have to be loyal to Todd Graves. We can't.
There we go.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's no Bojangles. It is all Canes.
Yes.
But back to Vicious Biscuit. When you get started, starting with the biscuit itself, though, rather than the entire breakfast, you would think biscuits on the side here, but y'all make that the main event.
Absolutely. So it actually started as a food truck catering company, and people fell in love with these big biscuits. So they're made in house every day, fresh every day. They're 5.5 to 6 ounce biscuits. We do our buttermilk biscuit. We do our cheddar jalapeno biscuit. We have specialty biscuits throughout the year, but they are the main event. We load them up with anything you can imagine. We do a Nashville hot chicken on a biscuit. We do our flamethrower, which is our fried chicken with Frank's Red Hot, our candied bacon, cheese, candied jalapenos. What else do we put on there? We do our huevos rancheros, which is really good on it.
Okay.
We do our Vicious Benny, which is a eggs Benedict on a biscuit. So, I mean, anything you can imagine on a biscuit, we do it, and we do it big too. So.
Okay. I got to ask because I haven't been out there yet. Y'all are out in Gonzales.
Yes.
But I haven't been out there yet. So hours wise, are y'all just breakfast?
Yeah. So we're 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay.
Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And then 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekend. So we're open
All right.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. The community has supported us. They've come out in droves, and we just had a lady come from New Orleans yesterday. We've had people come from Baton Rouge. So it's amazing.
The and we're talking like the ability to sit down.
Yes.
We're not just a strict like a drive-through type of thing. This is a sit down here and actually enjoy yourself.
Exactly. There's no drive-through. It's all you come in. It's a fast casual, so you order at the counter.
Mm-hmm.
We give you your number. You go sit down. We bring the food out to you, and if we can't get you in and out within 45 minutes, we're not doing our job right. So it's somewhere where you can come in, spend some good time, but it's not taking you 2 hours to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
You can be there as short or as long as you want. So yeah.
Let's talk your story for just a quick second here. Because I'm always interested in pairings, right?
Right.
It's like how someone was attracted to something along the way.
Yeah.
Talk about your story and how it landed you with them.
Yeah. So I'm also a Crumble cookie franchisee, and I was looking for ways to kind of market our stores, and I came across this video on social media from it's a big food influencer on the East Coast called Devour Power, and they were in Charleston, South Carolina, eating these huge, delicious biscuits. And I'm a foodie. Biscuits. I'm from Utah originally. And not a lot of biscuits in Utah, but our go-to every holiday was biscuits and gravy, biscuit sandwiches. So it kind of like hit this deepness in my soul. I'm like, I gotta go try this restaurant, and found out that they were franchising. I was like, that's got to be our next venture.
Okay.
And so kind of started there. We went out in August of 2023. Tried the food, fell in love with it. And then we signed on right then to open some stores here in Louisiana.
How'd you find Gonzalez?
So, I mean, Gonzalez.
I know.
Yeah.
We love Ascension
Yeah,
Parish. Ascension Parish is growing rapidly,
yeah,
which is probably part of the equation for y'all.
Yep.
But, I mean, like, you're right next door to Baton Rouge.
Right.
And you said we're going to pick here.
Yeah, so we have the rights to Baton Rouge, Gonzalez, and Metairie. So our thought was, let's put one in the middle first. We'll be able to draw from the great community in Gonzalez, but also from Baton Rouge and Metairie and New Orleans, and then spread to those communities as well. So part of it was the availability of a great space, and then also, it's central to our locations that we're approved to build in. But we are looking right now at sites in Baton Rouge. So this year there will be a Vicious Biscuit in Baton Rouge.
This year.
All
right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's January.
It's
so you still
January.
got a lot
Yeah,
of time.
exactly. Yeah.
But
hopefully by Q3, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, if I can selfishly ask for Mid City,
let's go.
Let's find you a home.
Okay.
For sure.
Perfect.
And as far as Metairie is concerned, stick Old Metairie.
Yes.
Stay Old Metairie.
100%.
Sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. We're coming up on our break here. We're going to meet up with Your Money Now on air, which means that on Facebook Live, I get to dig in, I get to pig out. We're going to show off everything before we do our little taste test and whatnot. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live, get ready. John's going to put everything up in front of you so you can put eyes on it. How long do I have? I got about 30 seconds. Okay, Zach, I forgot to mention here with the healthier options that y'all added to the menu.
Yeah.
The price point stuck out as remarkably affordable.
Yes, absolutely. That's part of our goal too, right? Is we want to be able to have families come and eat at an affordable price.
Yeah.
So that's part of our model. Great fresh food at an affordable price that'll knock your socks off.
Yeah, that egg white omelet that he mentioned earlier and the Mile High omelet that he mentioned earlier, both $9.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong there. Look, I'm a father of 3.
Yep.
We love to go out after church on Sunday morning.
Yep.
And that just is super appealing to me.
100%.
All right, on air. Here comes Your Money Now. Facebook Live, stick around. We're keep rolling. All right.
Is your logo the one with the skull and the shell?
Scully right here. His name's Scully.
Oh my god. I love it.
Yeah,
Man.
Scully.
I saw it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of a
Here we go.
fun take on.
We're gonna start with the egg white. We're gonna start with the egg white.
Egg white, baby.
You saw that? Like my hands like attached to it.
How deep was that in your ear that it pulled your head?
It's in there, man. It's in there.
Here, I'm gonna take this out real quick and put this jalapenos back on top here.
Sure.
Did you get this one yet?
All right. Now he's showing off you get the egg white first. Now comes the Mile High.
Yeah, baby.
And see, everything on here looks fresh.
Everything's 100%.
You had me at pickled jalapeno.
We made the pico yesterday. So it's good. Like it's a solid egg white omelet. It's not my favorite because I don't really like egg whites or feta cheese.
But I do. And
that right there.
All right.
Just give me all the hot sauce on it.
So we have our Nashville hot chicken is actually spicy, and then our Frank's red hot, or our flamethrower.
All right. Egg white omelet is a definite go. That is like, okay, the feta cheese is not overpowering it.
No.
But the spinach is freaking phenomenal. Like, you give me spinach in an egg white omelet, and that's a win right there. The fresh pico is awesome as well.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Mile high.
Mile high, baby.
Tell us how you really feel.
That's way too big of a bite.
That's true with the cheese and everything.
Well, I'll take the big bite.
Put you that too if you need that.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's good. It's a little sweet, a little spicy. It's like a perfect little topping.
How have we not had candied jalapeno with ham?
I know. It's kind of a revelation, right?
It's so eye-opening. Like,
Yeah.
yes, that pairing, that alone,
works.
forget the eggs. I don't even, like, those two things combined together are just absolute perfection.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. It is spicy, so
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
You're like
Glad we're not on air for that part. Woo. All right. Shrimp and grits?
Yeah, shrimp and grits. Try those.
All right.
You're going to fall in love with those, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is, you're South Louisiana now. I mean, this is the test.
Yep.
Is that bacon in there with it or
Bacon,
griots?
and then that's our low country gravy, which kind of is a veggie, vegetable stock kind of base. Got our
Okay.
cheese on there, our grits.
Did you show us the shrimp and grits?
No, I don't think I did.
You showed us the two biscuits, though, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, baby. So our Charleston store sold the most shrimp and grits before we opened. We sell double what they sell every week. That's our number one item. It's people come in just for that.
Creamy.
Mm-hmm. Everything creamy. Great flavors.
ASMR style, like just chewing.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Exactly.
It's so, like, yeah, I know how rude it is.
That's what they're here for.
Okay, I did this wrong because I had jalapeno before having this. So I've got leftover
Right.
hot still happening.
Yep.
The grits are so unbelievable. You said 45 minutes on that.
Yep.
Yeah, they do their work.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. 100%.
Unbelievable how that breaks down. And then the shrimp, they're just hit on a grill.
Yep.
Yep.
We season them with our house seasoning, a little bit of oil, and then we just fry them on the grill, put them in.
Okay.
So,
all right,
cheese and stuff on there.
Before I do something else, let me clear out that palate real quick.
Clear it out.
Yep. Yeah, I went from the jalapeno into the shrimp and grits. And it's like, I don't think I did the shrimp and grits justice because I had that. But seriously, y'all, candied jalapeno and ham.
So good.
Because think about it, when you have a ham, you have like if you don't have a Chisaisi ham, you have like a honey ham, and that like you get that sweetness right there. Add that pop, add that spice. Okay, this is the fried chicken with the in-house made.
Yep, everything house made, man. Oh shit, yes. We're our chicken house.
This is the one that's going to take me down.
Yeah, it's so good.
All right, I don't know where to.
I don't know either. Check that one
Because
right there.
yeah, it's got the most chicken and cheese.
There we go.
Get in there. How protected is the biscuit recipe?
Very protected.
Yeah.
Well, we have a proprietary wet mix that I don't even know what's in it. So they got it on lockdown.
So is there a plan to come to Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Is there? Okay.
Yep. So we're looking at. I just went and looked at 4 locations yesterday.
Man, you should go in Cortana, just right there.
Yeah, let's go, man. I wish there. The thing with Baton Rouge is things are like business is doing well right here, so there's not tons of like areas available. But I looked at a place downtown. There's Lafayette Street, 555 Lafayette.
Yeah.
Yes, Batch 13 used to be there. Look there.
I don't know where that's at.
Yeah, and then a couple on Seagan, then Long Farm. There's a space actually. I think there is a space on Government Street available. I just sent a couple the other day.
8:56, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Got a couple more minutes here as our Foodie Friday continues. We got Zach in from Vicious Biscuit. Okay. I didn't have all of it yet, but that's going to have to wait till we're off the air because I'm not going to chomp my way through this segment. First of all, everything that we just enjoyed was top-notch. Let's start with the egg white omelet. The flavors are all fresh, and they all combine well together. Yep. The feta cheese doesn't overtake it, which is awesome.
Yep.
The spinach does, which is even better. If you're looking for a healthy option where you can enjoy all the flavor combined together, that is perfect. Moving over to the Mile High, I forgot what else was in there because you have ham combined with that candied pickled jalapeno. Why are these two things not together all the time? Why are ham and jalapeno not together? This was eye-opening to say the least. Like whatever else is in there, fine.
Yeah, cheese, of course, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but like welcome aboard. Like you're here for the ride,
right?
But that's the star of the show.
Yep.
Putting that ham and jalapeno together. I did get a little bit cocky being from South Louisiana. Telling Zach here, you're on the clock with shrimp and grits, man. This is what we do here,
100%.
and we do it well, right? That is phenomenal. The grits, y'all. He described in the last segment about how it takes 45 minutes to make the grits.
Yep.
You're not rushing through this.
No.
This is
Low and
this is
slow.
not a scene from
Labor
My
of
Cousin
love.
Vinny, right?
Exactly.
Like this is the grits are so creamy.
Creamy. Yes.
It just there's the only way that it's almost like I don't know what another word to put in there for it. I need a thesaurus because creamy is about the best I've got here. And then you've got those grilled shrimp that go in with it as well. They just pair really, really well together. I got to try the pimento cheese and fried chicken biscuit here. What's this one called again?
The Fat Boy.
The Fat Boy.
Yep.
Apropos,
Yeah.
because this is one you're not going to walk away from. There's so many different flavors converging at once here, along with the pimento and chicken. What else was I tasting that I maybe
hot honey?
That's what
honey.
it was, the hot honey on
Yep.
top.
Yeah, it's
Because there's so much sweet.
Yep.
How the sweet from the hot honey just melds into that pimento.
I know.
Is
It's-
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Which, by the way, the biscuit itself, unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. I mean, if it's in your name, it's got to
Exactly.
be good,
It's got to
right?
be good.
So,
Yep, it's got to be good.
where can folks find y'all?
So we are in Gonzales at 333 St. Christopher Avenue, right off of Highway 30. Yeah, it's the new heritage property that was just built.
Okay.
Right by Alexander's Market on Highway 30.
Yeah.
And yeah, come by, and we're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. So 7 days a week. Come get it.
Just off of Highway 30 in Gonzales, it's Vicious Biscuit. He's Zach Trujillo. Thank you so much for a couple
Appreciate
minutes
y'all.
this morning. It's been
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun.
Thank you.
We're all done on the air. Stick around on Facebook Live. I do want to try that last one before we get out of here. We're all done for this week. Moon and Griffon is coming up next. We're coming back at you on Monday. Full slate already ready to go. We'll talk to you then.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. Just wait until you try our candy bacon, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's so good. Well, come dig in, y'all. Yeah, I'm not eating any of this. It's all for y'all.
Well, is anybody else coming down?
I could text the sales team. Tell them to come down here. I think Taylor and Will are up there.
I don't know that sales knew I was doing this today. It wasn't on the board. I booked this last second. I booked this on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Flip the script. Biscuit first.
Yeah.
Pimento first. Like it
Right.
the way the way it hits the palate is.
Yeah.
And then when that candy bacon comes. Okay, so along with the candy bacon, there's
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm texting the sales.
what else am I tasting there? That's
It's our house seasoning with a little bit of cayenne, brown sugar, and then our house seasoning, and then it's baked.
okay.
Then we got our white cheddar cheese. We got our scrambled egg, and then we got our buttermilk biscuit.
So, it's baked. The bacon. Okay, the bacon is baked, which it just absorbs everything. All right, y'all. So
Is there another biscuit? I would like to try a biscuit.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I just cut
Well,
this
yeah.
out.
This one's all cut to
Try that
pieces.
one.
That's the only part that I touched.
Oh my gosh.
So you're good to go over there. All right, y'all. The candied bacon is legit, like so good. But when you bite into that, when you're tasting the biscuit first, which when you bite into the Fat Boy here, the pimento just pops you right away. But yeah, 10 out of 10 on all of it, man. It's just so good across the board.
What do we do?
There's a reason this one has its name.
Yeah.
Nobody walks away from that.
No, that's the first biscuit I ever tried, and I was like, I'm sold.
Coming back for more.
Coming back for more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Again, Don't be shy.
I know we need like a plate or something.
Oh yeah, we need it.
Oh, there's plates inside the second cabinet.
I also got some menus
All right.
for y'all too. There's catering
Oh,
menu
yeah,
and then
cool,
just
cool.
our regular
Thank you.
menu there. So.
All right. That's no.
Nope, top one.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. I don't want like all of one thing. I want to like
Just
kinda
cut it up.
like-
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yes.
Cut up.
Just try a
And,
little bit.
try little bits of everything. Absolutely.
So I don't want to like.
Y'all get the first of it, so like, take what you want, and then everybody else gets to the
Yeah. Just kind of.
seconds.
Okay, I'm stealing this jalapeno. Sorry.
Do it.
Gotta go for it.
But yeah, if you like spicy, like our flamethrower, the chicken with the Frank's Red Hot.
That's
the candied
I want
jalapenos
to.
on top.
That's what I'm gonna get when I come out there.
Yeah, and it's on our cheddar jalapeno biscuit as well. So that's not a really spicy biscuit, but you got the freshly sliced jalapenos in it, fresh cheddar cheese in it. I mean, it's. I'm excited to see what y'all think.
Yeah.
And then I'm leaving.
I'm excited. Oh, because I love an egg white omelet. Do y'all have mushrooms there?
We don't actually. We don't have anything with mushrooms in it.
Really?
Yeah, and we don't. And the only salsa-like thing that we have there is our pico, because we want everything, like, especially with like salsa and stuff like that. We want everything that we put on your meal to be made fresh. And so
I think it's a good little sample.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
All right. So hey, Facebook next week. We got Hiller Moore's gonna be in the house on Monday, talking about that new tax that's gonna be on the on your ballot coming up soon. I don't remember what day, but Newt Gingrich is scheduled for next week as well. And of course, we got all your regular favorites. Richard Sprinkle will be back in for Franz on Wednesday, and then we're starting to count you down to Washington Mardi Gras as well. So, y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.